My true energy was completely drained and my spirit was exhausted. With my own strength alone, I really couldn't kill Long Zhanwu. The gap between our levels was just too big. But then I let out a furious roar, and a domineering broken blade fell right into my hands. The dragon-slaying blade. Long Zhanwu's eyes nearly popped out of his skull. He kept screaming that it was impossible, that the blade had been lost for thousands of years. But there it was, in my grip. This blade means everything to the Long family. It represents the supreme authority, above even the Grand Elders. Whoever holds it rules. It's basically a sacred relic, the spiritual core of our entire clan. The whole arena went silent. The three heavenly pillars and Nangong Shao all shot to their feet, their eyes full of shock, jealousy, and barely hidden hatred. I raised the blade above my head and shouted at Long Zhanwu. He started begging, trembling, saying I couldn't kill him, that he was my uncle, the Grand Elder, that I had no right. But under this blade, even his soul was shaking. I brought the blade down and split him in two. He died instantly. The dragon-slaying blade didn't even have a drop of blood on it. I hoisted the blade onto my shoulder and stared out at everyone. Who else? Who's not satisfied? Come up here. That's when Long Zhanya called out the enforcement hall, his personal force. He accused me of being a murderous maniac unfit for the Long family and ordered them to take me down. They surrounded the arena with their spears raised. But Long Shan rallied the Long family guards, and half the disciples in the arena answered his call. They surrounded the enforcement hall guys, outnumbering them 3-1. Meanwhile, in the shadows, Zhuge Tianlong, General Li, and the Nangong royals were scheming. They saw this chaos as their chance to kill me. They knew I was growing too fast, and now with the dragon-slaying blade, I could unite the entire Long family and rebuild its power. That terrified them. They agreed. I had to die. The tension was unbearable. Nobody dared make the first move. Then Xiao Tiantian couldn't hold back anymore. She jumped onto the ruined arena and shouted that anyone who touched me would answer to her. Yi Zian followed right after, standing by my side. Then Lu Luoxi descended like a fairy, her sword gleaming, and declared that as a disciple of the Chaotian sect, she wouldn't allow anyone to harm me. The whole crowd was stunned. The Chaotian sect is like a giant in this world. And then Fu Yinshan stepped out from the crowd and announced that the Fengyuan Trade Alliance stood with me too. She's the daughter of the Alliance Master herself, so her word carries the weight of the entire organization. She walked through the crowd, which parted for her automatically, and came to stand beside me. I was genuinely grateful. Thank you, I told her. Things had spiraled way beyond what anyone expected. Long Zhanya looked to Zhuge Tianlong for guidance. Zhuge declared that I had broken clan rules and kingdom law by killing my own clansmen and the Grand Elder, and that I deserved death. General Li asked whether I'd surrender or force them to act. Nangong Yan, clearly annoyed by the four beautiful women standing around me, just snapped, "Stop talking and kill him." The atmosphere was suffocating. Sweat poured down people's faces. Long Zhanya opened his mouth to give the order, but before he could finish, a deep, powerful voice crushed down from the sky above. "Who dares bully my dear grandson?" The moment that voice rang out, the entire arena shook. The enforcement hall disciples were already struggling under the pressure of the Chaotian sect and the Fengyuan alliance. Now their bodies were trembling, and some even dropped their spears. The Grand Ancestor has come out of seclusion. The Dragon Madman is here. It was my grandfather, Long Sanfeng, known to the outside world as the Dragon Madman. Behind him walked Long Zhanhai. I don't know why, but the second I saw my grandfather, a wave of emotion hit me. My eyes got wet, and I couldn't stop myself from calling out, "Grandpa." Besides Xiao Xiao, he's the only person in this world who's ever truly been good to me. He looked at the dragon-slaying blade on my shoulder, then at me, and his old eyes filled with tears. Good, good, good. Little Fei has grown up," he said, his voice shaking with pride. Every Long family disciple dropped to their knees. "Greetings, Grand Ancestor." "Greetings, family head." Long Zhanya knelt too and tried to speak, but before he could finish, Grandpa just glanced over, and Long Zhanhai moved like lightning. One palm strike sent Long Zhanya flying. "Traitor! Colluding with outsiders against your own family." Long Zhanya couldn't fight back at all. Zhuge Tianlong's face darkened. "Peak War King realm," he muttered. Then Grandpa turned to him with a smile. "Little Tianlong, Were you the one trying to bully my dear grandson? His war ancestor pressure crashed down on Zhuge Tianlong's mind. Instantly, Zhuge was drenched in cold sweat, shaking, his legs buckling until he collapsed to his knees. Please have mercy, grand ancestor. I never intended to harm the young master. Oh, not you? Grandpa said casually. Then it must be little Chongtian. The pressure shifted to General Li Chongtian, who also couldn't resist and dropped to his knees, begging for his life. Not you either? Then it must be my grandson's future wife? He looked at Nangong Lei and Nangong Yen. The pressure slammed down and both of them hit the ground on their knees. Nangong Yen wanted to curse and scream, but Nangong Lei stopped her and stammered, Grand Ancestor, how could I ever harm my own son-in-law? I could feel Nangong Yan's hatred boring into me. She was silently swearing she'd never marry a zero-dragon blood activation waste like me. Then Grandpa turned to Prince Nangong Shao, who went pale and instantly knelt. Spare me. Long Fei is my brother. I'd never hurt him. A prince's title meant nothing before true power. At the war ancestor level, Grandpa could crush their minds with just a thought. He was the kind of man who could kill them all, and even the emperor wouldn't dare punish him for it, especially here on Long family ground. All five of them knelt there shaking, because Grandpa kept increasing the pressure. They didn't dare resist, even slightly. Then Grandpa casually picked at his ear. I thought I heard someone say my grandson broke the kingdom's laws and deserved death. Li Chongtian immediately threw Zhuge Tianlong under the cart. That was Zhuge Tianlong. He runs the Ministry of Justice. Nothing to do with me. Zhuge Tianlong cursed Li's entire ancestry in his head, then started kowtowing. Grand Ancestor, I said nothing of the sort. The young master rid the Long family of a great cancer. I wanted to give him a bravery award. Oh, so I misheard? My grandson did nothing wrong then. Prince Nangong Shao immediately declared with great righteousness, whoever dares touch my brother Long Fei, I'll be the first to take their life. Grandpa smiled. Well then, I must have misunderstood you all. He released the pressure, and all five of them collapsed flat on the ground, looking utterly pathetic. They scrambled to their feet, and Grandpa slammed the pressure down again. They crashed back to their knees, their kneecaps nearly shattering. What are you people doing at my Long family estate anyway? Planning something against us? They were practically crying. We only came to watch the competition, to admire young Master Long Fei's heroic display. Is that so? I really did misjudge you. He lifted the pressure. They struggled up again. And then, he crushed them down one more time. This time, Nangong Yan's kneecap actually cracked. Her face twisted in agony, and she glared at me with pure murder in her eyes, silently swearing to make me pay for this. Grandpa put on his best confused old man act. Oh dear, I'm getting old and can't control my strength. So sorry about that. Then he looked at Nangong Yin with fake concern. Granddaughter-in-law, are you all right? Wanting to take a look? Last year I fixed a pig's broken kneecap. I could do the same for you. He turned to Long Zhanhai seriously. Is that pig still around, Grand Ancestor? You roasted it and ate it the next day. Oh right, silly me, he chuckled. But I really can fix it. No? All right then, come visit more often. Build up some feelings with my grandson. You two are getting married in 3 years. I'm waiting for great-grandchildren. Nangong Yin looked ready to murder someone. Nangong Lei scooped her up and hurried away with a quick bow, desperate to get her treated before her knee was permanently ruined. Zhuge Tianlong, Li Chongtian, and Nangong Shao also fled as fast as they could, terrified that the dragon madman would crush them again. The 3 heavenly pillars and the royal family had completely lost face today. I almost laughed out loud. The 3 heavenly pillars fled from our estate like scared dogs. The enforcement hall disciples all dropped their weapons and surrendered. My crisis was finally over. Lu Luoxi said it was time for them to leave. She and her sisters needed to go into closed-door training, and we'd meet again at the year-end Forbidden City banquet. Xiao Tiantian grinned and told me not to get bullied again since they couldn't babysit me every day. Yi Zian teased her about just moving into the Long estate, and Tiantian actually got excited about it before realizing she was being made fun of. Fu Yinshan also said goodbye quietly. What she did today was impulsive, stepping in like that would bring punishment from the Fengyuan Alliance leadership, even for the Alliance Master's daughter. But she'd been prepared for that from the moment she took her first step forward. I was truly grateful to all 4 of them. Without their sudden appearance, the Long family would have torn itself apart, and the outsiders would have finished us off. Grandpa called out cheerfully, "Where are you going, granddaughters-in-law? The Long estate is your home. Stay." Tian blushed bright red and kept peeking at me, waiting for me to say something. All four of them seemed a little pleased by Grandpa's words, though only Tian showed it openly. Lu Luoshi politely declined. "Grand ancestor, your grandson's future wife is Nangong Yen. We're just friends with Long Fei." Then she dragged Tian away before she could finish complaining about how awful Nangong Yen was, whispering that no matter what, Nangong Yen was still my fiancé by imperial decree. Fu Yinshan smiled faintly, bowed, and left too. I clenched my fists and whispered to myself, "Nangong Yen." The arena cleared out. For the Long family, this was a day of hope. I could feel it. Every disciple was thinking the same thing. The Long family is going to rise again. But then, back at Grandpa's courtyard, the moment we stepped through the gate, everything changed. Grandpa's legs gave out. He collapsed to the ground and coughed up a mouthful of black blood. Cold sweat covered his whole body. He was shaking. I rushed to catch him. "Grandpa, what's wrong?" He struggled to stand, his face white as paper, looking like he'd aged decades in an instant. I'm fine, he said weakly. Uncle Zhanhai hurried in and shut the courtyard door behind him. "You forced out war ancestor pressure 3 times in a row on 5 people. Father, how can you say you're fine? You almost couldn't hold it together out there." My heart dropped. "Uncle, what do you mean forced? Didn't Grandpa break through to war ancestor level?" Grandpa smiled bitterly. "I've been stuck at the peak of War Venerable 9 for a whole year. I just can't break through." The truth hit me like a hammer. That overwhelming war ancestor pressure he'd displayed, it was all fake. He'd forced himself beyond his actual level to create an illusion, to make Zhuge Tianlong, the Li family, the Nangong royals, and the prince all believe the Long family had a war ancestor protecting it. And he did it all to protect me. In Holy City, a war ancestor is the absolute peak. As long as one sits in our family, the 3 pillars would never dare make a move. But the cost was devastating. Grandpa had suffered serious internal damage. His cultivation would probably never advance again. In fact, it had dropped back to around War Venerable level 6 or 7. Any level 8 War Venerable could easily defeat him now. And worst of all, he'd burned away decades of his remaining lifespan. "Grandpa," my throat tightened and I couldn't speak. He's the closest person I have in this world. Seeing his pale, aged face made my heart ache in a way I can't describe. If only I were stronger. If I could have crushed everyone myself, Grandpa wouldn't have had to do this. He wouldn't be hurt. Stronger. I have to get stronger. I swore it silently, clenching my fists so hard my nails dug into my palms and blood dripped from my fingers. Grandpa just smiled. "Don't worry about me. You don't know how happy I was watching you in that arena. Your dragon blood was stolen, your dantian shattered, your meridians blocked, but you never gave up. You crushed Long Zhanwu. You made the disciples rally behind you. You made the Long family's name ring through Holy City again. Even if I died right now, I'd die content." He started laughing, which turned into a coughing fit. Watching him hack and wheeze like a frail old man sent another wave of pain through my chest. "And the dragon's slaying blade," he continued, eyes shining. "Our family searched for thousands of years and never found it. But you did. It's destiny." He asked me where I found it, and I told him it came from an encounter in the Holy Mountains, that it was also how I started cultivating again. I couldn't tell him about the system. I can't tell anyone about that. And I definitely couldn't explain that I got the blade as a monster drop. Even if I did, nobody would understand. What was I supposed to say? That I'm someone who crossed over from another world? Grandpa laughed again. "Heaven blesses the Long family. But the blade is only half complete. Our ancestors' spirits must guide you to find the other half. Only then will it become a true supreme divine weapon, and our family will endure forever." I clenched my fists. "Grandpa, don't worry. I'll find the other half. And I already know where it is, the Nangong imperial family. The quest had given me the clue. The other half was definitely with them. And there was something else, the story about our ancestor dying together with the evil demon. That came from the Nangong family too. Whether it's even true, only they know." Grandpa gripped my hand tightly. Good. This is a true son of the Long family." Then his expression turned serious. "Zhanhai." Uncle straightened up immediately. "Yes, father, From this day forward, use every resource the Long family has to support him and protect him. Help him become the divine Dragon Marquis, the new head of the Long family. Uncle bowed. Yes, father. Grandpa knew his own condition. He'd never reached the war ancestor realm in this lifetime. And after forcing that fake pressure, he didn't have many years left. He needed to build me up before he died. Uncle Zhanhai had also hit his limit. He'd probably stay stuck at peak War King forever. This world belongs to the strong, and the Long family needs a powerful figure to hold it together. Time is running out for us. When I left Grandpa's courtyard, my heart was heavy. I told Uncle Zhanhai quietly, I don't want to become the divine Dragon Marquis. My personality isn't right for being family head. I don't like being tied down. I want to live freely. If I become the head, everything would have to revolve around the family. Uncle snapped at me. Are you afraid? I've never been afraid of anything. I shot back. He cut me off. Then what's the problem? From the moment you were born, you were destined to lead this family. You were born for this. His voice softened a little. Don't worry, your grandfather and I will protect you even if it costs our lives. But there isn't much time left. Your grandfather's condition. He trailed off, clenched his fists, and sighed. It's my fault for being too dull. I can't comprehend the war venerable realm. If I could, I'd at least take some of the burden off him. Then he looked me dead in the eyes. Remember this, Long Fei. You carry the name Long. The rise of this family rests on your shoulders. No matter what happens, even if your grandfather and I are both gone, you keep moving forward. The Long family never admits defeat and never gives up. Understand? I nodded firmly. I understand, Uncle. He said he'd put together a training plan for me over the next few days. I told him my cultivation method was different from normal people's, and that he didn't need to pour all the family's resources into me. Honestly, this world's standard cultivation resources don't help me much for breaking through levels. But he wouldn't hear it, said that wasn't my concern. I could tell he was also puzzling over the same question. With no dragon blood talent, a shattered dantian, and blocked meridians, how was I supposed to break through it all? He had no idea about my system. I couldn't help but ask, Uncle, is there really no way to heal Grandpa? And how could he break through to the war venerable realm? He let out a long breath. His injuries are probably permanent. As for a breakthrough, unless we find dragon essence blood to boost his dragon blood activation rate, there's no chance. It was the same for Uncle himself. His activation rate was at 67%, but that wasn't enough. Without dragon essence blood, he'd be stuck forever too. And if other family disciples got it, their strength would rise across the board. But dragons are the supreme creatures of this world. Where would we even find one? And even if we did, the Long family doesn't have nearly enough power to kill a dragon. I whispered to myself, dragon essence blood, and burned it into my memory. If I could find it, Uncle could break through, Grandpa could recover, the whole family would grow stronger, and nobody in Holy City would dare touch us. And then maybe I wouldn't have to be the family head after all. I could live free. I made up my mind. I would find dragon essence blood no matter what. Back at my little straw cottage, Xiao Xiao greeted me with a huge smile. Young master, you were so cool today. Everyone's talking about you. She hadn't gone to the arena herself, but the whole estate was buzzing with news about me. I was the center of the Long family now. I grinned. When am I ever not cool? Then I asked about the woman. Xiao Xiao giggled and said, Shadow's sister is inside. Her name is Shadow. I paused. That's actually a pretty good name. I walked into the room. She was lying on the bed, still wearing her face veil. I knew the premium healing pills I'd made should have fixed her injuries by now. Stop pretending, I said. I know exactly how strong those pills are. Get up, she startled and sat up immediately. I wasn't trying to trick you. I looked at her. The tight outfit showed off her figure perfectly. Long legs, slim waist, curves in all the right places. But that veil was still covering her face. I had a feeling there was something stunning underneath. Take off the veil, I said. She hesitated, looking at me uncertainly. I gave her a cold smile. You can't even follow this simple order? How am I supposed to trust you with anything? I shrugged. Fine, I won't force you. Your old master is dead. You're free now. Go. I turned to walk away. Wait. Her hand was trembling slightly as she slowly removed the veil and looked at me with a strange expression. I was right. An absolutely stunning face, breathtakingly beautiful, but cold as ice, like a frozen mountain. Smile for me, I said. Her fists clenched, But finally the corner of her mouth curved up in the faintest smile before it disappeared. Veils off. I smiled. Satisfied? It was barely a flash, but it was genuinely beautiful, the kind of beauty that could stop time. I told her calmly, from now on, you're my shadow. That veil only comes off for me. That smile is only for me. I pulled out a martial arts manual from my robe and tossed it to her, then turned and walked out without another word. Behind me, I heard her whisper in surprise, the shadowing demon art. It was a technique she'd always wanted to learn. I could tell from her voice that she was moved. I didn't need to look back to know. This master was going to be different from her last one. Meanwhile, at the Nangong Imperial Palace, something was happening that I wouldn't learn about until later. In the Royal Ancestral Temple, the place where all the Nangong ancestors are honored and where the Imperial Dragon Vein begins, there's a massive secret chamber underground. Inside it, a giant golden dragon sculpture snarls with bared fangs, looking ready to burst out at any moment. And beneath the dragon's head, resting on a pedestal, sits the other half of the dragon-slaying blade. The Imperial ancestor, their oldest, most powerful figure, learned from Nangong Hua that my half of the blade had surfaced. He went mad with excitement. And then the real history came out. The truth about what happened to my ancestor, the Dragon Slayer god. It wasn't a mutual destruction with the evil demon supreme at all. My ancestor had used the dragon-slaying blade to kill the demon after 3 days and nights of battle. But the blade was too powerful. It threatened the Nangong family's grip on the throne. So their ancestors set up a devastating ancient formation called the Heaven-Earth Net and trapped my ancestor inside it for 7 days and 7 nights until they finally killed him. They murdered him. In his final moments, my ancestor used all of his dragon god essence blood to shatter the blade in two, hurling 1/2 deep into the holy mountains. The Nangong family only recovered their half and spent thousands of years searching for the other piece, the piece I now hold. The ancestor believes there's an earth-shattering secret hidden inside the complete blade. Every generation of their ancestors tried to figure it out, but failed. They need both halves together. He thinks it might be connected to the dragon god's secrets, maybe even the key to reaching the absolute peak of power. He also discussed whether Grandpa had truly broken through to war ancestor level. Based on his knowledge of our family's dragon blood, he suspected Grandpa might have faked it, since breaking through requires at least 80% dragon blood activation, and Grandpa only has 75. But he wasn't completely sure. The long family bloodline has produced exceptions before. Rather than act directly, the ancestor decided to use Nangong Lei to investigate, since Lei's own ancestors had helped kill the Dragon Slayer god and only survived by pledging loyalty to the Nangong royals. He also ordered a warrior named Nangong Lai, someone who had genuinely broken through to War Ancestor Realm last year, to go test Grandpa's true strength. As for my blade, the ancestor said there was no rush. The year-end Forbidden City banquet would be the perfect opportunity to make a move. He was determined to get both halves. The dragon-slaying blade. He would have it no matter what. Over the next several days, I trained like crazy. I focused especially on the dragon-slaying blade technique. Without any luck bonuses, my blade energy had already reached 155 layers, each one fiercer than the last. I also practiced my right fist kill strike, though the 3-minute charge time was really annoying. My Toad art finally hit level 3, which felt great. I checked my stats. Player, Long Fei. Level, War Spirit 2. Experience, 180,090 out of 600,000. True Energy, 4,300 full. Skills include Toad Art Level 3, Dragon Slaying Blade Art Level 2, Mountain Crusher Fist Level 1, Alchemy at Yellow 6, and Talisman Crafting at Yellow 4. My one-hit kill can take out anyone below War King 6, but needs 3 minutes to charge. Energy at 100, Luck at 10, points at 1,600. Enough to exchange for the Demon Cultivation System. My battle pet Little White is still a baby divine beast. I need to find somewhere to level up, I muttered. And these skills are way too hard to train. Level 4 Toad Art needs 50,000 proficiency points. I'll literally turn into a toad at this rate. That's the system's weakness. No experience means no leveling up, and experience only comes from killing monsters. Crafting perfect pills gives barely anything. I was wondering if I should head back to the Holy Mountains when Shadow suddenly appeared behind me. Powerful battle energy, she said quietly. She's an assassin. Her ability to sense combat aura is way sharper than most people's. At that same instant, a thunderous explosion erupted over Grandpa's courtyard. Dragon Madman. I heard you broke through to War Ancestor level. Come out and play. Nangong Lai had arrived. My heart dropped. This is bad. I sprinted toward Grandpa's place as fast as I could. Grandpa shot into the sky to meet Nangong Lai, releasing his battle energy like he really was a War Ancestor. He could stand in the air, something only War Venerable level and above can do. Nangong Lai was a bit surprised but laughed roughly and challenged him to spar, saying he'd been looking for someone at War Ancestor level to fight. Grandpa had no choice. He knew the moment he faked that pressure at the arena, someone would come to test him. He just didn't expect it to happen this fast. Uncle Zhanhai jumped onto the rooftop and offered to fight instead, but Nangong Lai didn't even look at him. You're not worth my time, he said coldly. Then they clashed. Grandpa used the Sky Dragon Palm. His right hand shot forward, and a roaring dragon made of energy surged out. But Nangong Lai smashed through it with a single punch called Raging Sea Fist. The impact was terrifying. Nangong Lai grabbed the dragon by the head and crushed it, mocking our family's technique. Though privately, even he admitted that if Grandpa had been just a bit stronger, he would have lost. In a flash, Nangong Lai appeared right in front of Grandpa and slammed down with a massive attack, Raging Sea Sky Crusher. It was like a 1,000-foot wave crashing from the heavens. Grandpa countered with Dragon Elephant Break, pouring his dragon blood power into both palms. The collision shook everything. Uncle Zhanhai got knocked off the rooftop just from the shockwave. Grandpa couldn't hold on. His real cultivation had dropped to War Venerable 8, nowhere near enough to fight a true War Ancestor. He was injured, his true energy was running dry, and his dragon blood power was fading fast. But he kept the War Ancestor aura going on the outside, refusing to show any cracks. He crashed to the ground, but immediately bounced back up, laughing it off. You've mastered the War Ancestor power to an impressive degree, Nangong Lai. I only broke through a month ago. Give me a year, and you'd be the one losing. His voice boomed without a hint of weakness. Nangong Lai couldn't tell if he was faking. But Nangong Lai wasn't done. He wanted absolute proof. He gathered all his power into one final palm strike and dove down from the sky. If Grandpa could take it, he was real. If he couldn't, he'd die, and the Nangong family would have one less threat to worry about. Either way, the Nangong family wins. Grandpa's eyes tightened. He knew he couldn't block it. He was about to burn the very last drop of his dragon blood essence, a move that would kill him within 3 days. But for the family, for keeping those vultures at bay, for buying me more time, he was ready to sacrifice everything. I wasn't going to let that happen. Touch my grandfather, and I'll kill you, I screamed. I activated peerless mode. My body roared with power as every single one of my stats doubled. I summoned the dragon-slaying blade and unleashed 7 strikes of the dragon-slaying technique in 1/10 of a second, skin split, tendon sever, bone crack, stacking all the blade energy at once. I leaped into the air with everything I had. Dragon-slaying mad slash. A wave of blade energy swept upward. Nangong Lai frowned when he saw the dragon-slaying blade in my hands. Now he understood why the Nangong ancestor had really sent him. It wasn't just about testing Grandpa. It was about the blade. He sneered. A little waste like you dares act tough in front of me. His raging sea boiling attack crashed toward me like an ocean falling from the sky. My blade energy met it head-on and actually cut through all of it. But the gap between our levels was simply too huge. The crushing weight of his battle aura slammed me back down to the ground. Even so, Nangong Lai was secretly shocked. I was only at War Spirit level, but the power I released was terrifying. He thought to himself, this kid cannot be allowed to live. My blade energy had shaken his very spirit. If not for his overwhelming realm advantage, he might not have withstood it. He vanished and reappeared above me, palm aimed at the top of my skull, ready to kill me. In that instant, I made a decision. I hurled the dragon-slaying blade to Grandpa. Grandpa, he leaped up and caught it. That last drop of dragon blood essence finally released. With the supreme weapon in his hands, he roared with everything he had left. Nangong Lai, you dare bully my grandson? I'll take your life. Grandpa poured his dragon blood essence into the dragon-slaying blade, and the weapon came alive. A furious dragon roar erupted from inside it, and its true power was unleashed. In that instant, Nangong Lai's back went cold. His mind was crushed under the pressure. Even his war ancestor powers couldn't release properly. He immediately gave up trying to kill me, flew to the side, and started smiling nervously. Dragon madman, no need to get angry. I was just joking around, but Grandpa had already burned his last drop of dragon blood essence. A joke? You think a joke makes this go away? If Grandpa were truly at war ancestor level, he'd have stomped Nangong Lai into the dirt. But his real cultivation was only war venerable 8. This chance to crush Nangong Lai would probably never come again in his lifetime, so he wasn't going to waste it. Killing Nangong Lai would devastate the Nangong prince's household and send a massive warning to the royal family, buying our clan even more time. Grandpa put everything he had left into one slash. Thunder rolled across the sky as the dragon-slaying blade tore through heaven and earth. Nangong Lai was shaking with terror. The crushing pressure from the supreme weapon was worse than death itself. But he wasn't the type to just accept his fate. He roared and activated his Thunder Bell, a peak heaven-grade spirit treasure that his ancestors found long ago. A massive bell appeared around him, covered in purple lightning that wove into a net of electric defense. The blade came down on the lightning net. The sky went dark like the end of the world. The whole city of Huli trembled. The lightning net kept breaking apart. The dragon-slaying blade was unstoppable. But Grandpa's power was draining fast. His true energy, his dragon blood, everything was withering away. Without energy to fuel it, even a supreme weapon can't maintain its full force. Nangong Lai seized that split second. He rammed the Thunderbell forward, shot into the sky, and laughed wildly. Dragon madman, running out of power, aren't you? That's the difference between us. He'd barely survived. His back was drenched in cold sweat, and he was still terrified. He couldn't confirm whether Grandpa was truly at war ancestor level or not, but he didn't dare test it again. One more slash from that blade, and even his Thunderbell would shatter. Grandpa pointed the blade at him and laughed like a madman. Come down here, little Nangong Lai. Fight me 300 more rounds. His war ancestor aura poured out endlessly as he laughed. Nangong Lai smiled stiffly and made an excuse about having urgent business. Then he vanished into the sky, terrified that Grandpa might chase him with the blade. In his heart, he was cursing Nangong Hua for not telling him about the dragon-slaying blade beforehand. If he'd known, he never would have come so recklessly. But he also remembered me. A kid at war spirit level who blocked one of his attacks. That kind of potential was too dangerous. He decided I absolutely could not be allowed to live. And the secret about how his ancestors helped the royal family murder the Dragon Slayer god using the Heaven-Earth net formation. If the Long family ever found out about that, the consequences would be unthinkable. After Nangong Lai's presence completely disappeared from our estate, Grandpa's body suddenly collapsed. He nearly fell to the ground, barely catching himself on the dragon-slaying blade. Long family disciples rushed into the courtyard, but Uncle Zhanhai shouted them all out immediately. Everyone except me. One of those disciples stared at Grandpa with sharp eyes, noticing his trembling body and deathly pale face. I didn't catch it at the time, but a cold, sinister smile flickered across that person's lips before the gate closed. Uncle rushed to Grandpa's side and caught him. His heart was breaking. But Grandpa looked at the dragon-slaying blade with shining eyes. To see this blade in my lifetime. To use it once. I can die without regrets. Then the coughing started again. Black blood kept pouring from his mouth. His whole body shook violently. I grabbed onto him, my chest burning with pain. Grandpa, Uncle, what's happening to him? Uncle's voice was heavy as stone. He burned his dragon blood essence, forced war ancestor pressure the entire fight, and used the very last drop to power that final slash. Now your grandfather. His true essence is gone. His dragon blood essence is gone. He's badly wounded. Grandpa coughed a few more times and looked at me gently. Little Fei, don't worry. Your grandpa isn't dying that easily. Father. Uncle couldn't hold it in anymore. Tears were streaming down his face. Your true essence is drained. Your dragon blood essence is completely gone. You're injured beyond repair. Father, you only have 3 days left to live. He wished he could take Grandpa's place and bear all of it himself. When those words hit me, 3 days, my entire body went numb. I couldn't move. I couldn't think. I just stood there, frozen. 3 days. Those words hit me like a thunderbolt. I grabbed onto Grandpa, shaking. It can't be. Grandpa, tell me it's not true. The pain was suffocating. I'd never felt anything like it. Memories kept flooding in. All the times he'd been kind to me, spoiled me, protected me. I couldn't bear it. There has to be a way. There has to be. I thought of the dragon-slaying blade. I could trade it for points, buy dragon blood, save him. Uncle, you said dragon blood could help Grandpa. I can trade the blade for it. In my past life, I never even knew what family meant. I never knew my parents. I never had anyone. Family was the thing I wanted most in the world. If giving up the supreme weapon could save Grandpa, I'd do it without blinking. The blade can drop again from monsters, but if a person dies, they don't come back. Shut up, Grandpa glared at me. The dragon-slaying blade was passed down from our founding ancestor. It is the Long family's supreme treasure. You want to trade it for my life? How would I face our ancestors after I die? He refused to become a sinner against the family. The blade is the Long family's hope, and I am the Long family's hope. Only together can the family rise again. Uncle added painfully that even one portion of dragon blood wouldn't be enough anyway. The only real cure would be the essence blood of an actual dragon, used to rebuild Grandpa's body entirely. But where would you even find a dragon in this world? Nobody knows. And even if you found one, killing it would be basically impossible. Even War Emperor and War God level experts couldn't guarantee that. Kill a giant dragon. Rebuild his body with dragon essence blood. I repeated quietly to myself. Grandpa spoke weakly. Don't listen to your uncle's nonsense. Birth, age, sickness, death. It's the cycle of life. Don't be sad for me. I'll watch over you from above. Then he started talking like he was saying goodbye. He told me if I didn't like Nangong Yen, I should break off the engagement. He said the 3 girls from the Chaotian sect were nice, and Xiao Xiao was a good girl too. He joked that my luck with women was better than my father's. Then his expression shifted to guilt. It's my fault your father left. I was too strict with him. If I'd agreed to what he wanted, he wouldn't have run away from home, and he wouldn't have been gone all these years. He'd never told me anything about my father before. Every time I asked growing up, he refused to answer. And my mother, I had even less idea who she was, and right now I didn't dare ask. Grandpa, if you want to apologize to him, do it yourself, I said. Don't ask me to pass along messages. I'm going to fix your body. I swear I will. I ran out of the courtyard. The second I was through the gate, I broke down completely. Tears poured down my face, ugly, raw, crying like my heart was being ripped apart. I'd never cried like that in my entire life. Not once. I'm useless. If I were stronger, Grandpa wouldn't be hurt. He wouldn't have to sacrifice himself for me. Long Fei, you're pathetic. I screamed inside, clenching my fists until my teeth nearly cracked. Stronger. I have to get stronger. I'm going to become the strongest person in this world. I threw my head back and roared at the sky. Against Nangong Lai, I'd been completely helpless. And he was just a scout. The people behind him were even more powerful. The Imperial ancestors' cultivation was far beyond his. How was I supposed to face that? In front of them, I wasn't even an ant. But right now, none of that mattered. The only thing that mattered was saving Grandpa. I'd finally found family in this world after being alone for over 20 years in my last life. I absolutely refused to become an orphan again. I ran to the Fengyuan Trade Alliance like a madman. Zhao greeted me at the door. Young Master Long. Elder Lu is waiting in the back. I rushed straight to the back courtyard and told Elder Lu directly, I need to see your alliance master. His face fell. I was going to tell you about this, but then I heard Nangong Lai attacked the Long estate today, so I held off. Our alliance master has been recalled to the main headquarters. She might never come back to Holy City. My heart sank. Because of me, I'd only recently learned that the Fengyuan Alliance has a strict rule against interfering in local family disputes. Fu Yinshan had broken that rule to protect me. The Alliance immediately sent people to take her back for questioning. I hadn't visited the Alliance these past few days, so I had no idea. Elder Lu nodded. The young miss broke Alliance regulations for you. Even being the Alliance Master's daughter won't protect her. And the internal politics of the Fengyuan Alliance are far more complicated than you'd imagine. Guilt hit me like a fist. I wanted to slap myself. Then Elder Lu seemed to remember something. He pulled a small bottle from his robe. Long Fei, the young miss left this with me before she was taken away. She asked me to give it to you. What is it? I asked. He lowered his voice. A heaven-grade life extension pill. I froze. I took the pill, my mind reeling. How did she know I'd need this? I'd come to the Fengyuan Alliance hoping to ask about life-extending pills. Killing a dragon in a few days was impossible. The only option was to keep Grandpa alive long enough for me to find a real cure. The Alliance is one of the 10 great trade unions with endless resources, so if anyone had that kind of medicine, it would be them. What I never expected was that Fu Yunshan had already prepared it for me. Elder Lu explained that the day she returned from our estate, she immediately started working on it. She used every connection she had and spent all her personal savings to buy 3 life extension pills. But what he didn't tell me, what Fu Yunshan specifically told him to hide from me, was the full truth. Each pill was worth hundreds of spirit stones, far more than her savings could cover. She'd actually used Forbidden Alliance resources and connections to get them. That was the real reason she'd been arrested and dragged back to headquarters. Not the incident at the arena, the pills. And the punishment waiting for her would be severe. She did all that for me, and she didn't even want me to know. That day she already knew? I asked, stunned. Elder Lu told me the Alliance had their own expert stationed in Holy City. That expert saw right away that Grandpa had forced the war ancestor pressure and was badly hurt. Fu Yunshan predicted that a real war ancestor would come to test him, and when that happened, Grandpa would push himself again and burn through his dragon blood essence until there was nothing left. She'd seen it all coming. Years of watching Holy City's power struggles had made her sharp. She'd always stayed out of it, until me. For some reason, she threw herself in for my sake and got burned for it. I was overwhelmed with gratitude. Thank you. Thank her for me. I owe her everything. Wherever she needs me, I'll be there, even if it costs my life. Elder Lu smiled softly. Just don't forget our young miss. He seemed like he wanted to say more, but held back. As I ran off, he whispered to himself, I hope you can understand her devotion, Long Fei, and her feelings for you. Each life extension pill could sustain someone for 3 months. 3 pills meant 9 months. But the medicine goes against nature. The moment it runs out, death comes instantly. And while taking it, your cultivation drops to half its normal level. So Grandpa now had 9 months to live, with only War King level strength. After Grandpa swallowed the first pill, his complexion improved. He looked at me and sighed. Why waste such precious medicine on an old man like me? Uncle Zhanhai was also puzzled about where I'd gotten 3 of these pills, since they can only be made by the most powerful alchemist grandmasters. But Grandpa's life was safe for now, and that was all that mattered. I smiled and said calmly, don't worry about where I got them. Within 9 months, I will kill a dragon and use its essence blood to rebuild your body. I meant every word. I would never let death take my grandfather from me. Both Grandpa and Uncle stared at me, shaken. They said my expression in that moment was exactly like my father's. It struck something deep in them. I told Grandpa to rest and left. After I was gone, Grandpa sighed. Useless old man, making my grandson carry this burden. But Uncle said something that surprised even Grandpa. Father, Long Fei is different now. He's steady, fearless, and more stubborn than even third brother ever was. I'm starting to believe him. Believe what? That he can kill a dragon within 9 months and save you. Grandpa scoffed. You've lost your mind too? Where would he even find a dragon? You think killing one is that simple? I know it sounds impossible. But I believe in him. The same way none of us imagined he'd find the dragon-slaying blade. No logic behind it. Just faith. Then Grandpa asked about my training plan. Uncle's answer caught him completely off guard. I want to send Long Fei into the Long family army. Grandpa's face changed instantly. The Long family army is stationed in the 100,000 desolate mountains, one of the most brutal environments in the world. He's only at war spirit level. He wouldn't survive a day there, but Uncle had thought it through. His potential is greater than either of us realize. And there's no better training ground. More importantly, I want him to earn the army's loyalty on his own, not because of the dragon god bloodline, not because of the dragon-slaying blade, not because of a family title. Through his own strength. Only then will those soldiers follow him with absolute loyalty. Grandpa went quiet. It was a good plan, but the stakes were terrifyingly high. Can't we give him a little more time to grow? He asked, worry written all over his face. He only had one grandson. He already felt guilty about driving my father away. He didn't want to fail me too. Uncle's answer was simple and heavy. We don't have much time left. While I was focused on saving Grandpa, things were happening at the Nangong Prince's mansion that I had no idea about. Nangong Lai had retreated to his secret chamber, where he coughed up blood. The dragon-slaying blade had wounded him. Even just half of the supreme weapon was incredibly powerful. He'd need 6 months to recover. He was furious at Nangong Hua for not warning him about the blade beforehand, calling him and his father a pair of scheming dogs who used him as cannon fodder. When Nangong Lai asked about Grandpa's true cultivation, Nangong Lai said he honestly couldn't tell. If he's not at war ancestor level, then he's an absolute lunatic, he said. Burning dragon blood essence like that would kill a non-war ancestor within 3 days. Either way, Grandpa was hurt worse than he was and wouldn't recover for at least a year or 2. Then Nangong Lai gave Nangong Lai a cunning order. If Nangong Hua asks, tell him Grandpa is definitely at war ancestor level. He wanted to make the imperial ancestor Nangong Wudi sweat a little. He's been comfortable for too long. Time to make him nervous. He also mentioned something Nangong Lai didn't know. The other half of the dragon-slaying blade was in the imperial family's hands, held by that old monster Nangong Wudi himself. If both halves were ever reunited, the blade's secret would be revealed, and who knows what would happen to the prince's household then. Nangong Lai left the chamber deep in thought. He was weighing whether to keep me as a son-in-law or not. He also harbored a secret ambition to restore his family's original surname, the one they'd given up when they pledged to the Nangong Imperials generations ago. Then Nangong Yen came running up with an excited grin, bringing 2 visitors. One was a young man, a so-called genius named Dongfang Jian. The other was an old man in a black robe with piercing, soul-shaking eyes. Nangong Lai immediately dropped to one knee. Greetings, master. The old man was his teacher from the Chaotian sect, the #1 sect in the entire Holy Kingdom, a force more powerful than any family. And Dongfang Jian was the son of the sect's vice master, making him basically royalty among royalty. Nangong Lai was shocked at how much Dongfang Jian had grown. He was already at peak War King level and casually mentioned he'd break into War Venerable within a year. As a proper sect disciple, his cultivation methods were vastly superior to ordinary warriors, like comparing a trained soldier to a street fighter. The black-robed elder asked about the troubles at the prince's mansion. Nangong Yen immediately launched into a performance worthy of an award. She whined and sniffled, painting herself as the poor victim being bullied by the terrible Long family, forced into an engagement with a worthless trash like me. He wanted me to share a bed with him, she sobbed, burying her face in Dongfang Jian's chest. Her acting was flawless. Dongfang Jian's battle aura exploded. That dog is tired of living. I'll kill him right now. Nangong Yen pretended to worry for his safety. But he can even kill War King's 7-level fighters. War King 7? That's nothing. I could crush one with a single finger. He was ready to grab his sword and come find me that instant. The elder stopped him and asked about the dragon-slaying blade. When Nangong Lai mentioned we'd found it, even the old man was surprised. Nangong Yen seized the moment to make her real play. Father, I don't care. I refuse to marry that waste. I'd rather die. I want to break off the engagement. With the Chaotian sect backing her up, she figured even an imperial marriage decree meant nothing. Dongfang Jian eagerly supported her, his eyes practically glowing. I'm with you. Yen. She knew exactly what she was doing. Her talent and cultivation weren't outstanding, but she was brilliant at using people and manipulating situations. That was her real weapon. What I didn't know was that over at the Nangong Prince's mansion, things were moving fast. Nangong Lai's old master from the Chaotian sect had arrived. A black-robed elder with terrifying strength, someone who could kill a low-level war ancestor with a single move. With him came Dongfang Jian, the son of the Chaotian sect's vice master. This guy was already at peak War King and bragged he'd reach War Venerable within a year. As a proper sect disciple, his cultivation was on a completely different level from ordinary fighters. Nangong Yen put on a masterful performance, crying and clinging to Dongfang Jian, telling him I tried to force her to share a bed with me. Complete lies, but Dongfang Jian ate it up. He was ready to grab his sword and come kill me on the spot. He'd been in love with Nangong Yen since the moment he first saw her, and she played him like an instrument. She also saw her real opportunity. The Chaotian sect would be recruiting disciples early next year, and Dongfang Jian promised to get her in as an inner disciple through his father's influence. If she joined the sect, she'd be completely free of me. Then Nangong Lei got a secret report from his spy inside our estate. He came back with an excited grin. He'd figured out that Grandpa almost certainly wasn't at war ancestor level, that he'd forced it and was severely injured. This was the perfect chance to break off the engagement. He sent us a formal invitation to visit the prince's mansion. Nangong Lei had his own schemes too. Originally, the marriage alliance with our family had some value. But now that he knew about the dragon-slaying blade and the imperial family's interest in it, he felt uneasy. Dongfang Jian's appearance gave him a new path: marry Nangong Yin to the vice master's son, gain the Chaotian sect's backing, and he'd fear no one. Not the imperial family, not us. He might even fulfill his ancestors' wish of restoring their original family name. Meanwhile, I spent days buried in books at the Long Family Scripture Pavilion, searching for any information about dragons, where they live, where to find them. I learned that the Tianwu Continent is divided into 5 domains. The Holy Kingdom sits in the Southern Sky domain, which is the weakest of the 5. But when it came to dragon information, most of what I found was nonsense. Fairy tales about dragons hiding in gold mines because they love shiny things, or lurking in the deep sea, or watching humanity from a heavenly palace, or even disguising themselves as humans walking among us. My head was spinning from all the garbage. Then I picked up a book called Records of Strange Dragons. It seemed like another terrible novel written by some bored guy called the Sky Dragon Elder. But at the very bottom of the last page, a small line of text caught my eye. Dragons once ruled the Tianwu Continent, but were driven out as human powerhouses arose. Some never left and hid in swamps and mountains. A long family ancestor once slaughtered dragons there, and in the great desolate mountains, wildfire burned across the land, annihilating all living things. Great desolate mountains. The Long family ancestor who slaughtered dragons had to be Long Zhantian. And that wildfire, could it have been Dragon Flame? Great desolate mountains. Where is that? The name felt strangely familiar, like I'd heard it before, but I couldn't remember where. Grandpa only had 9 months. I had to find and kill a dragon. I refused to lose the only family I had. That's when Uncle Zhanhai walked in and saw the piles of strange books around me. He told me not to trust anything written in those folk tales. Then he got to the real reason he'd come. The Nangong Prince's mansion sent an invitation. They want us to visit them tomorrow morning. Are you kidding me? I snapped. If they want to talk, they can come to us. Why should we go to them? We haven't even settled the score for Nangong Lei nearly killing Grandpa, and they're the ones summoning us. Uncle felt the same way, but the truth was we didn't have the strength to push back against Nangong Lei right now. On top of everything, Nangong Lei had gone to the imperial court that morning and argued that the Long family army was useless, like raising pigs, and proposed cutting our military supplies. Our army guards the most dangerous position in the kingdom, the 100,000 desolate mountains, and already receives the least funding of any force. But with our family this week, nobody speaks up for us. Uncle told me to get some rest tonight and dress properly tomorrow. I was going with him to the prince's mansion. He looked like he wanted to say something else, but held back. I could tell from his expression that he'd already guessed what this visit was really about. I didn't want to go, but for the family's sake, I followed Uncle Zhanhai to the Nangong Prince's mansion. The place was ridiculously luxurious, far grander than our estate. Pavilions, fake mountains, little bridges over streams, everything perfectly arranged. The whole layout felt like it was hiding some kind of powerful formation underneath. Uncle whispered to me before we went in, "Don't say anything." I nodded. Got it. A butler came out to greet us. Not even Nangong Lei himself, just a butler. If our family were still at its peak, he'd never have dared. But things are different now. In the main hall, Nangong Lei glanced at me first, then told Uncle he'd meant to come to our estate, but wasn't feeling well. Not a shred of real apology in his voice, just cold arrogance. Then 2 people walked out from the back. The first was Nangong Yin. White dress, looking like some kind of untouchable goddess, beautiful beyond words. I'll give her that. She had this natural seductiveness that most men couldn't resist. Cold eyes, though, full of contempt. She looked at me once, then deliberately wrapped her arm around the young man beside her, Dongfang Jian, wearing the most satisfied, mocking expression I'd ever seen. Before she could even speak, Uncle stood up angrily. "Prince, what is the meaning of this? Nangong Yin is Long Fei's fiancée, and she's clinging to another man right in front of us? Is this how you raise your daughter?" She responded by pressing her head into Dongfang Jian's chest even tighter. He pulled her close with a smug grin. Then she said it coldly, "General Long, my meaning is simple. I want to break off the engagement." Uncle's War King aura exploded outward, cracking the chairs in the hall. Break off the engagement? The Emperor himself decreed this marriage. The Grand Ancestor approved it. Prince, I'll pretend today never happened. Consider it a joke. But Nangong Yin wasn't joking. She said she wanted us to go to the Emperor ourselves and request the cancellation. She'd give us satisfactory compensation afterward. It wasn't just a breakup. She wanted us to humiliate ourselves by being the ones to ask for it. This was pure insult. You've gone too far. Uncle roared, his peak War King pressure blasting through the room. That's when Dongfang Jian stepped in with a cold laugh. His battle aura surged out like a roaring tiger, instantly pushing Uncle's energy back and crushing it. Sect-trained power, completely different from what ordinary warriors cultivate. At the same level, a sect disciple has no equal. Uncle staggered back several steps. Face pale, chest churning with blood, he forced himself not to spit out. Dongfang Jian sneered. I don't care about your worthless Long family or your pathetic 4 pillars. My Yin wants to break off the engagement, so you'll do exactly as she says. Otherwise, his eyes turned murderous. I'll make you regret being born. Nangong Yin clapped and cheered like a little girl. So amazing, Brother Jian. Then she turned to me with pure venom. This kind of man is worthy of being my husband. As for you, Long Fei, a waste with 0 dragon blood activation doesn't even deserve to lick my shoes. You're nothing but a toad. I will never like you. I will never marry you. Give up. I only love Brother Jian. She stomped all over me to make herself look superior, then snuggled deeper into Dongfang Jian's arms. In her mind, she'd made the smart choice. He could bring her into the Chaotian sect, give her resources I never could. She wasn't about to spend her life with a waste stuck in a small city. She looked at me sitting there silently and thought she'd scared me speechless. Brother Jian, look, I think your aura broke his brain, he laughed smugly. I could kill trash like him with 1 finger. Uncle was shaking with rage. And me? I couldn't take it anymore. Uncle, I said, can I talk now? If I don't say something, I'm going to suffocate. Uncle stared at me for a second, then sighed. Say whatever you want. I stepped forward, looked at Dongfang Jian, then at Nangong Yan's smug face, and let loose. Will you quit showing off your pathetic sense of superiority? The whole hall went dead silent. I kept going. Nangong Yan, what right do you have to act superior in front of me? Your looks? Your body? I got bored of all that ages ago. I turned to Dongfang Jian with a grin. Hey brother, you think she's still pure and innocent? You're in for a big surprise. I've been with her plenty of times already. She's quite something in bed. Nearly killed me, actually. You sure you want her? Be careful you don't catch something. Nangong Lei roared my name. Nangong Yin looked like someone stepped on her tail, screaming that I was lying. Dongfang Jian let go of her arm. His face turned to ice. She grabbed at him desperately. Brother Jian, he's making it all up. How could I ever be with trash like him? I sighed dramatically. If you don't believe me, just check her knees. I guarantee there are still bruises. The other day when she was kneeling in front of me, I gave a meaningful look. You know what I mean. Of course, the bruises were actually from Grandpa's pressure crushing her to the ground at the arena. But those marks were definitely still there, and she couldn't explain them without revealing the truth about what happened that day. Nangong Yin was losing her mind. Her hair was practically standing on end, and she looked ready to tear me apart. Playing tricks on me? Trying to show off? She wasn't even in my league at this game. I put on a scared face. See, brother? The moment I expose her, she wants to kill me to keep me quiet. Scary woman, right? It's not true. Brother Jian, it's not true. She clutched his hand. Dongfang Jian's voice went cold. Then show me your knees. Prove you're innocent. And then I'll kill him. I chimed in helpfully. Yeah, go ahead and show him. Those are our love marks, after all. Shut up, she screamed. She knew her knees were still bruised. She couldn't show them. And the more she tried to explain, the worse it looked. I kept pushing. If you found someone better, you should have just told me. I would have let you go. I mean, you're basically the same as those women at the pleasure house anyway. But you shouldn't lie to this poor guy. Then I turned to Dongfang Jian with a serious expression. Think about it, brother. We've been engaged for years. You really think nothing happened between us? Look at those seductive eyes of hers. Could you resist? I sure couldn't. So why would you think I'm lying? I delivered the final blow. If you still don't believe me, just check her knees. If there's no injury, I'm a liar. But if there is, I laughed. Well, watch your head for green hats. Uncle was stunned. I could see it in his eyes. He was actually impressed. He piled on too. Nangong Lei, I had no idea your daughter was this kind of woman. No wonder you don't bother disciplining her. You must be used to it by now. Nangong Lei was speechless with rage. Nangong Yin kept begging Dongfang Jian to believe her, but he was done. Show me your knees, he demanded again. Brother Jian, I really didn't. She gripped her skirt tightly, unable to comply. I smiled. Just show him. What's the big deal? She finally snapped. She lunged at me screaming that she'd kill me. I jumped back with a terrified look. Murder your own husband? Look, I'll admit your body doesn't excite me anymore, but I'll take responsibility. If you don't want the baby, just give birth and hand it to me. I'll raise the child myself. That was the last straw for Dongfang Jian. He flung his sleeve, turned around, and stormed out without looking back. Nangong Yin tried to grab him, but he shoved her away. Have some self-respect, he spat, and disappeared from the mansion. Nangong Yin collapsed crying. Then she turned to me with a blood-curdling shriek. Long Fei, I want you dead. My playful expression vanished. I looked at her coldly. You? Try it. Before anything could happen, Uncle released his full War King pressure and knocked her back, then warned Nangong Lei to control his daughter or he'd do it himself. Nangong Lei was boiling inside, but had nothing to say. He held up his daughter and glared at me. If you won't agree to break off the engagement, then leave. Actually, I smiled. I could agree to it. On one condition. What condition? I looked at Nangong Yin with a wicked grin. Let her spend 3 days and 3 nights with me. After that, I'll cancel the engagement immediately. That set the whole room on fire. Nangong Lei exploded with fury. Nangong Yin could barely whisper, Father. Kill him. I laughed. No? Fine. In 3 years, she'll be mine anyway. Then I can do whatever I want for as many days as I want. Nothing illegal about being with your own wife, right? I turned to Uncle. Let's go. As we walked out, I could feel Uncle's eyes on me. Pure admiration. He didn't say it out loud, but I could tell what he was thinking. Unstoppable. Absolutely unstoppable. My trash-talking game has always been unbeatable. Back when I played games, I could outmatch a whole team by myself in verbal combat. Never lost once. But I knew this world runs on power, not words. I'd crush Nangong Lei with my mouth today, but the Long family situation was only going to get worse. To really change things, I needed strength. Walking back through the streets, Uncle asked casually, Any thoughts? Nope, I said. He laughed. After getting humiliated like that, you have no thoughts? That doesn't sound like the Long family's arrogant young master. He was right, of course. What happened in that hall looked like we won, but we actually lost badly. They summoned us to their house to announce a breakup. That's not a request. That's them spitting in our faces. And Nangong Yin would never have dared act that boldly without a powerful backer. Uncle also suspected that Nangong Lei already knew about Grandpa's injuries, which meant there was a spy inside our family feeding him information. I grinned and turned the question around. What do you think? He smiled back. She's not my fiancée, so it's not my call. But if she were, I'd take her back no matter what, even if I didn't like her. Because I'm a Long, and no Long has ever let someone walk all over them. Trying to provoke me? I said. I'm not a kid, Uncle. But you're right. Nobody gets to break off an engagement with me. If they want out, that makes me want to hold on even tighter. He laughed hard. Now that's a real Long. Then his expression turned serious. I've been thinking about your training, and I've made a decision. I'm sending you to the Long family army. I stared at him. Uncle, you're throwing me straight into hell. I knew exactly what the Long family army was like. Pure hell. Their training methods are designed to push you to the absolute edge of death. Scared, he teased. The word scared doesn't exist in my vocabulary. It's just the army? Fine, I'll go. Deep down, I knew I needed it too. I needed a place to level up and break through. Nangong Lai's attack had made it crystal clear. I had to grow fast, take charge of the family, and make every vulture in Holy City sit down and behave. Grandpa was too old and too hurt to keep protecting me. I had to carry the Long family banner myself. Then a crucial question hit me. Uncle, where exactly is the army stationed? Training would toughen my body, sure, but what I really needed was to hunt monster beasts for experience. That's the only way my system lets me level up. Hell, Uncle said with a grin. The 100,000 desolate mountains. My heart jumped. 100,000 desolate mountains. Desolate mountains. Great desolate mountains. Suddenly it clicked. The book I'd read in the scripture pavilion. The great desolate mountains where wildfire once burned everything. The place where dragons might still be hiding. My fists clenched with excitement. When do we leave? Uncle blinked, surprised. When do you want to go? Today. What I didn't know was that back at the prince's mansion, things had already been smoothed over. The black-robed elder had confirmed to Dongfang Jian that Nangong Yin was still untouched, and the idiot came running back to apologize, blaming himself for falling for my tricks. He swore to skin me alive next time we met. Nangong Yin played it perfectly, crying, acting hurt, making him feel guilty. Inside she was thrilled. The elder gave her 2 gifts as compensation, an inner disciple token for the Chaotian sect, and an ancient martial arts manual called the 9 Heavens Sword Art, one of the sect's top 10 sword techniques, rated at the absolute peak of heaven grade, comparable to god-level skills. Nangong Lei told her to train hard over the next 2 months before the Forbidden City banquet. At the banquet, she could challenge me, sever my tendons, and petition the emperor to cancel the marriage. Nangong Yin clung to Dongfang Jian's arm, acting sweet and helpless while cold determination flashed behind her eyes. She silently swore to herself, Long Fei, at the Forbidden City banquet, I will kill you. Be good while I'm gone, I said, holding Xiao Qiao's hand at the courtyard gate. Her cheeks turned pink, and she wouldn't look up at me. Take care of yourself out there, young master. I smiled, then called quietly into the courtyard. Shadow, protect Xiao Qiao while I'm away. And don't forget to train. Your current level isn't good enough to be my shadow. I'd sparred with her the night before. Beat her in 3 moves, and I hadn't even used Toad Art or the dragon-slaying blade technique. No answer from the courtyard. Typical. I leaned down and kissed Xiao Qiao on the forehead. Wait for me. Then I turned to Long Shan and the others. Let's move. Our group heading to the Long family army was 10 people total. Me, Long Shan, and 8 other young Long family disciples, all the best of our generation. None of us older than 20. The 100,000 desolate mountains sit at the very edge of the Holy Kingdom. It's where the evil demons try to enter our territory. Thanks to the Long family army holding that line, not a single demon has gotten through in years. Without them, there'd be no peace in the kingdom. They're the strongest fighting force in the entire Holy Dynasty, and they answer to no one except the Dragon God Warrior or the Long Family Supreme, both of which require earning the army's respect first. 10 days of traveling. Around the campfire each night, the others talked endlessly about how terrifying the army's training was, how the mountains were worse than hell, and how furious they were about Nangong Lei pushing to cut military funding for the very soldiers protecting the kingdom's border. I didn't join those discussions. The reason was simple. The Long family is weak. If we were strong, nobody would dare touch our funding. The solution isn't complaining, it's power. Instead, I spent the whole journey reading that Records of Strange Dragons book over and over, at least 10 times. The author described the great desolate mountains and a wildfire that burned everything. He believed it was a fire dragon's rampage. I'd also found records confirming that the 100,000 desolate mountains used to be called the Great Desolate Mountains tens of thousands of years ago. A massive fire had burned across 100,000 miles, turning lush land into the barren wasteland it is today. If there really was a fire dragon, after tens of thousands of years, would it still be alive? I wondered. It doesn't matter. For Grandpa, I have to find it. Even the tiniest hope was worth chasing. Dragon blood was the only thing that could save him. Longshan came over and asked what was on my mind. The others gathered around too, offering to help me deal with whatever the army threw at us. They said I was the young master, so the army would have to show me some respect. I closed the book and smiled. Thanks, brothers. But once we enter the army, there's no young master. We're all rookies. We follow orders. They were surprised. I told them the Long family army has stood for 10,000 years as the kingdom's strongest force, not because of our ancestors' names, but because of their unbreakable willpower. If there were special treatment, it wouldn't be the Long family army. We were going in for a trial, and no matter how unfair things got, we had to endure it. They looked at me differently after that, like they were seeing someone more mature than they expected. I told everyone to get some sleep. We'd arrive tomorrow. Lying under the stars, I thought about the family situation. 3 heavenly pillars and the Nangong royals, all circling us like wolves. Grandpa badly hurt. Only Uncle Zhanhai holding things together against 4 powerful enemies. I didn't know if he could manage. I have to get stronger. I'll make the Long family stand for 10 million years. I drifted off eventually. In my dream, I saw Qiao Qiao, Lu Luoxi's rare, beautiful smile, Yi Xian's youthful glow, Xiao Tiantian's playful cuteness, Fu Yunshan's stunning face behind the veil, and Shadow too. I was smiling in my sleep, dreaming about all of them together on a big bed, when suddenly, a dangerous presence. Getting closer. Fast. I snapped awake instantly and roared, "Everyone up! Enemy attack!" The moment the words left my mouth, I heard the sound of perfectly synchronized footsteps rushing through the trees. While the others were still groggy, spears were already cutting through the night air, flying straight at us. Danger! It all happened way too fast. Before anyone could react, cold spear tips were already pressed against their throats. Nobody could move. Longshan shouted, "Young master, run." He threw himself at the attackers without thinking. My instincts kicked in. Fighting head-on right now meant death. I poured all my energy into speed and used lingering wave steps to vanish into the dark forest. My first thought was that this was an assassination ordered by Nangong Lei, or maybe killers from the Zhuge household. The smart move was to survive first. Only alive could I fight back, get revenge, and rescue the others. But when I noticed nobody was chasing me, I slowed down and quietly circled back to watch. A masked man was in charge, War King level, radiating contempt. He kicked Long Shan in the gut and announced loudly into the forest, "Long Fei, you think you can escape? Come trade your life for your brother's. I don't care about these weaklings. I want you." I stayed silent in the darkness. He mocked me. The Long family's young master is a coward? How disappointing. Then he gave me 3 days. If I didn't show up, he'd cut off all 9 of their heads. They tied everyone up and marched them away. My mind raced. Who was behind this? Nangong Lei? The imperial family? Zhuge Tianlong? Li Chongtian? This was clearly a planned ambush. They knew our exact route. Our trip to the army was supposed to be completely secret. Only Uncle Zhanhai and a few elders knew. If one of the elders was a spy, the family's situation was even more dangerous than I'd thought. I didn't charge in blindly to save them. Against that many black-armored soldiers plus a war king leader, I'd just be throwing my life away. The smart play was to reach the Long family army and bring back reinforcements. Long Shan, hold on. I'm coming for you. I ran through the entire night without stopping for a single second. By dawn, I reached a massive mountain fortress with a dragon banner flying from its peak. This had to be the Long family army's base. "Open the gate. Open up," I yelled. A guard poked his head over the wall, took one look at me, and scowled. "Where'd this little thief come from? Stop yelling and get lost. I'm Long Fei, a Long family disciple. I need to see your general." We were ambushed. 9 of my brothers were captured. Long Fei? Never heard of you. Got any proof? Proof. I had nothing. We'd left in such a hurry that nobody brought identification tokens. The only proof should have been my dragon blood, but with 0% activation, my blood was useless as identification. I really am a Long family disciple. Please just report it. My brothers are in danger. No proof. No entry. I think you're an enemy spy. Leave now, or I'll order archers to fire. Dozens of crossbow soldiers suddenly appeared on the walls, all aiming at me. That caught me off guard. I'd thought the outpost looked lightly guarded, but they had hidden forces everywhere. If I tried to force my way in, I'd be a pincushion. Then a deputy commander named Chen walked out, yawning about being woken up. When his soldier explained the situation, the deputy sneered at me. "You want us to send troops? Who do you think you are? Even the emperor doesn't have the authority to order our army around. Some random kid claiming to be a Long disciple wants me to deploy soldiers? Are you the Long family supreme or something? No proof, no credentials. And a real Long family disciple would never abandon his brothers and run away. Either you're a fake, or you're a gutless waste." His eyes were full of pure contempt. My blood was boiling. "Go screw yourself. You just wait. One day you'll be kneeling in front of me." Fine. If they wouldn't help, I wasn't about to beg. I turned and left. But I locked one name in my mind, Sky's End Stronghold. That's where the deputy said those bandits were from. That's where my brothers were being held. I'd save them myself. What I didn't know was that the moment I walked away, that Deputy Chin started laughing behind the walls. Kid, this is your first test. If you can't pass this one, you'll never set foot inside the Long family army. A guard asked if the test was too harsh, since the fighters at Skies and Stronghold were no joke. Chin just grinned. The family had secret orders. Give the young master the hardest trial possible. I was furious. I'd thought reaching the Long family army would solve everything. But instead I got mocked and turned away. Waste this. Waste that. I swore that when I came back, I'd make that deputy kneel. What I didn't know was that the whole thing was a setup. The ambush, the capture, the army refusing to help. It was all a test designed by Uncle Zhanhai. And not just any test. He'd ordered the highest difficulty trial in the Long family army's entire history. Even Grandpa only faced the third-level difficulty when he was tested, and he'd been at War King level back then. I was just a war spirit too. The bandits at Skies and Stronghold were actually the Black Dragon Army's vanguard battalion, led by a captain named Mengyu. His men were real soldiers, elite fighters, not some ragtag group. Back at Army headquarters, 3 of the 4 generals, Wind, Thunder, and Lightning, opposed letting me lead the army at all. A 0% dragon blood activation rate commanding the Long family army? They considered it a joke. Only General Cloud, the sole woman among the 4, believed in me. I trust him, she said, while the other 3 laughed her off. But I didn't know any of that. All I knew was that my 9 brothers were captured, nobody would help me, and I had 3 days. Running away wasn't an option. Abandon my brothers? I could never do that. No matter how strong those soldiers were, I'd find a way. I spent the entire first day studying the terrain. The stronghold sat on top of a cliff that reached into the clouds, a natural fortress, almost impossible to attack. There was only one path up, guarded by 6 sentries with a signal beacon nearby. If the beacon was lit, the whole mountain would know. Patrol teams rotated every hour. Even if I killed the guards instantly, I'd have less than an hour to get up the mountain, find my brothers, and get them out. The climb alone took half an hour. It was practically impossible. I dove into the lake at the base of the cliff. Deep, bottomless. The cliff was over 2,000 meters high. If we jumped from up there, Longshan and the others could probably survive the fall using their energy to protect their bodies, but the risk was enormous. If the wind shifted even slightly, they'd miss the water and splatter on the rocks. I couldn't gamble with their lives. The first day ended with no plan. On the second day, I kept watching. I noticed something small but important. The gate sentries were always the same 10 people rotating in shifts, and there had to be a rest station halfway up the mountain. That tiny detail gave me a spark of hope. My chances of getting inside just went up a little. I also went back to the lake to study the wind patterns more carefully. The second day passed. Still no move from me. Everyone in the stronghold figured I'd given up and run home. Up at Army headquarters, 3 generals were laughing about it. He's not his father. Even his father couldn't have passed the highest difficulty trial. General Cloud just clenched her fists and repeated, I believe in him. The third day came and went with no sign of me. Mengyu stretched and grinned. Looks like the kid really ran back to Holy City. Send word to the generals tomorrow morning. Everyone was sure I'd failed. Then, in the dead of night, the darkest hour before dawn, when exhaustion is at its peak, a shadow crept toward the mountain gate. Dark night, high wind, perfect for killing. The 6 guards at the mountain gate were chatting carelessly. Last night of their assignment, and they figured I was long gone. They didn't see me coming. I burst from 3 meters away and slammed the first one with Mountain Crusher fist. He flew into a tree and blacked out. Before the others could react, I was already on the second. 1 hit to the back of the skull, down. Then Toad Art. Launched myself into a third, sent him flying. 3 left. I took them all out just as fast. Not a single scream. I didn't use lethal force or even true energy on purpose. Killing them might have made them cry out. Heavy unconsciousness was the smarter move, and every strike was carefully measured. 3 days of nonstop patrol had worn them down, and since it was the last night, they'd gotten sloppy. That was their mistake. I stripped 1 guard's black armor, put it on, and sprinted up the mountain. Instead of heading straight to the stronghold, I went to the rest station halfway up, the one I'd spotted during my scouting. 4 men snoring like thunder. 1 punch each. All out cold. Gate cleared, I breathed. I looked up at the stronghold above. Brothers, I'm coming. I slipped back into the darkness. Meanwhile, inside the stronghold's prison, the masked leader Meng Yu was taunting my brothers. Looks like your precious young master doesn't care about saving you. Your lives aren't worth much to him. It stung, but my brothers also knew the situation. Honestly, they didn't want me to come back. With all those soldiers guarding the place, coming back meant death. Long Shan yelled back. Our young master is smart enough not to fall into your trap. When the Long family army comes, you're all dead. Meng Yu laughed. You won't live to see that. Tomorrow morning, you all die. That's when it happened. One of our guys, Long Cheng, cracked. He ran forward and dropped to his knees, crying and begging. I don't want to die. I'm not a Long family disciple. I have nothing to do with them. Please spare me. Long Shan shouted at him to stop. But then 2 more broke and knelt beside Long Cheng. Then 2 more after that. 5 out of 9 betrayed the family. Meng Yu smiled like he was watching a show. Good, good. Anyone who admits they're not a Long disciple gets to live. Long Shan kept calling them back, reminding them of the family motto, but Long Cheng sneered at him. Why are you so loyal? Your surname was given to you. You're not real Long blood either. Why throw your life away for nothing? That waste Long Fei already abandoned us. Long Shan's voice didn't waver. The Long family raised me. I'm Long family in life and Long family in death. Long family men never kneel. Long family men never beg. We break before we bend. 3 others stood firm beside him. All 4 of them had survived the Fire Wolf Valley with me. They believed in me. They trusted I'd come. Meng Yu gave them one last chance to renounce the family. Long Shan spat blood in his face. Stop dreaming. Long family men would rather break than bend. Meng Yu wiped the spit away, then ordered the 5 traitors released and given good food and wine. For my 4 loyal brothers, heavy torture. Minutes later, screams echoed from the prison. Long Cheng laughed outside. Idiots. What none of them knew, what I wouldn't learn until later, was that Meng Yu wasn't actually a bandit. He was the captain of the Black Dragon Army's Vanguard Battalion, and this was all part of the test. The torture, the temptation, it was designed to separate the loyal from the weak. In Meng Yu's mind, the Long family didn't need cowards who'd betray their own to save their skin. Better to weed them out now than have them sell out the family later when it really mattered. He actually liked Long Shan and the other 3. Secretly, he was already planning to recruit them for his own unit. When his advisor reported that everything was quiet below and I'd apparently fled, Meng Yu sighed. The Grand Ancestor is going to be disappointed, but up on that dark mountainside, hidden in the shadows, I was already inside the walls. The stronghold wasn't even that big. It didn't have a proper gate. Getting inside was easy. By 4 or 5 in the morning, everyone was in their deepest sleep. They all thought I was gone, so security was practically non-existent. I crept through the place, mapped the layout, and found the prison. 2 guards at the door. I used lingering wave steps to close the gap in a flash, then dropped both with Mountain Crusher Fist before they could blink. Inside, the patrol guards had already been pulled. Nobody thought I was coming. When I saw Long Shan hanging from a torture rack, covered in wounds, rage boiled inside me. Nobody touches my brothers. I gave him a premium healing pill. When he woke up and saw my face, he almost cried. Young master, you can't be here. It's a trap. Run. He was just a minor figure in the family, given the Long surname, average talent, average cultivation. But I'd come for him anyway. The gratitude in his eyes, and in the eyes of the other 3 still locked up, was overwhelming. I noticed only 4 of them were here. Where are the other 5? Long Shan's face twisted with anger. Traitors. Spineless cowards. Forget them. I could guess what happened, but I didn't push it. I gave them healing pills, and we moved out. The stronghold was still quiet. I pointed to a pine tree nearby. Wait there. I'm going to find the others. Long Shan grabbed my arm. Young master, they're traitors. I brought them out of the city. I'm bringing them back. That's my principle. I meant it. Anyone would be scared facing death. If I were in their shoes, I'd probably choose to live too. Besides, they were my brothers once. That counted for something. And practically speaking, the Long family needed every capable person it could get. Long Shan clenched his fists and whispered, I will never betray a master like this. Not even through fire and mountains of blades. I found the 5 traitors in a room, drinking and laughing. Through the door, I heard everything. Long Cheng bragging about his plan. They'd go to the Long family army, pretend they'd escaped on their own, and say they never needed saving. With Long Shan and the loyal four dead, nobody would know the truth. Long Chung was already dreaming about becoming an elder, maybe even the family head someday. My blood was boiling, but I swallowed it. I pushed the door open. I'm here to save you. Let's go. Their faces went white for a second. Long Chung recovered fast, putting on an excited face. Young master, you finally came. Some looked ashamed. Some looked confused. And at least one thought I was an idiot for coming back. Long Chung walked toward me. And the instant he was close enough, he grabbed me and screamed at the top of his lungs. He's here. Long Fei is here. Grab him. The other four hesitated, but then rushed me too. Sorry, young master. We have no choice. Long Cheng's shouting woke the entire camp. Meng Yu shot out of bed and roared. Enemy attack. Black armored soldiers poured out at incredible speed. Long Shan heard the commotion and his eyes went murderous. Protect the young master. He and the other three charged out. Long Chung held on to me, grinning. You're not getting away this time, Long Fei. I stared at him with the coldest look I'd ever given anyone. Did you think about the consequences of this? He laughed in my face. The consequences, you die? We join the army, go back to the family, climb the ranks. Maybe I'll even become the divine dragon marquis. Not bad for a night's work, right? Long Chung stood there grinning, already dreaming about his bright future, using me as a gift to buy his way into favor. My voice went ice cold. When I killed Long Zhanwu, I told myself I'd never kill another Long family member again. A family needs unity to be strong. But today, I'm breaking that promise. I exploded 2,000 points of true energy outward, blasting Long Chung and his crew off me. Then I dropped low, activated Toad Art, and launched myself straight into Long Cheng's stomach. Grind. My energy tore into his body, twisting his organs like a meat grinder. He screamed, blood pouring from his mouth, and collapsed. His hand reached for me as he fell. You won't escape either. He died. I looked at the other four, standing frozen in the doorway. That's what consequences look like. I didn't waste another second on them. I'd given Long Chung every chance. Even after hearing their disgusting plans through the door, I still came to save them. But the moment he grabbed me and tried to sell me out, the killing intent was set. Once I decide someone deserves to die, there's no mercy. As for the other four, they were no longer family, no longer my concern. I burst outside to find black armored soldiers swarming from every direction. Meng Yu landed in front of me with an excited grin. Weirdly excited, like he was actually happy I'd shown up. Long Shan and my four loyal brothers formed a ring around me. Young master, we'll hold them off. Break through. 300 soldiers surrounded us. Spears thrust forward in unison, shrinking the circle by half. The gap in strength and numbers was overwhelming. Long Shan was ready to sacrifice himself so I could escape. I yanked him back. I didn't give you permission to die. Your life belongs to the Long family, not to you. Same goes for all of you. Anyone who charges out stupidly isn't my brother. If anyone was going to die first, it would be me. And we weren't at that point yet. I looked at Meng Yu and smiled. You think I can't escape? He laughed. Have you looked around? You think you can? If I do escape, next time we meet, you're kneeling for me. His smile vanished. There won't be a next time. You're about to die, I whispered to Long Shan. I'm going to punch a hole through the south side. Run that way. Fast. But that's a cliff. Trust me, I summoned the dragon-slaying blade. The moment it appeared, the roar of its power echoed across the stronghold. I swung 7 consecutive strikes, skin split, tendon sever, bone crack, stacking blade energy in a heartbeat. Anyone who doesn't want to die, get out of my way. Dragon-slaying mad slash. A wave of blade energy swept south, sending every soldier in its path flying. A gap opened instantly. Long Shan and the others charged through. Most of the soldiers were stunned, not just by the attack, but by the blade itself. The supreme divine weapon of the Long family, radiating pure domination. Even Meng Yu froze for a split second before snapping back. He lunged at me with a fist. You're not going anywhere. I met him head on. Right fist divine power, only 10 seconds of charge, nowhere near the full 3 minutes. But the impact sent him flying backward, his arm going numb. If I'd had the full charge, he'd be dead. Stop him, he roared, shaking out his arm. I unleashed another slash, blew away the soldiers blocking my path, and broke through the encirclement. Meng Yu started laughing behind me. That's a cliff edge. A dead end. Let's see how you escape now. Mengyu didn't chase hard. He knew the south side was a cliff, nowhere to run. His soldiers advanced slowly, step by step, shields and spears locked into a perfect formation. This time, even my blade energy couldn't scatter them. I stood at the cliff's edge, hands behind my back, tossing dirt into the air to check the wind. Not yet. Not the right direction. I told you there's no escape, Mengyu called out. Kneel and surrender. It's your only choice, I smiled. Long family men never surrender. And I haven't lost yet, he laughed. You're standing on a cliff edge and you haven't lost? Words won't save you. Long Shan and the others were ready to charge. Let's take some of them with us. Kill one and we break even. Kill two and we're ahead. Wait, I said. Just a little longer. Mengyu was curious. Wait for what? The army to save you. Right then, a breeze swept across the cliff face. I grinned. Time to show my cards. Since you mentioned the army, let me tell you something. The Black Dragon Army's Vanguard Battalion. Your black armor soldiers aren't that impressive. His eyes narrowed. Every soldier bristled with anger. How did you know? He demanded. From the beginning, I said. The night ambush, the army refusing to help, the psychological games. It was all too coordinated. And the most obvious giveaway? The Black Dragon shields your men carry. Those are unique to the Black Dragon Army. I'd suspected from the start. Their combat aura wasn't like normal warriors or assassins. It was the kind forged on real battlefields. The army's mocking rejection had been designed to provoke me, which deepened my suspicion. Once I got inside the stronghold and saw the shields, I was certain. Mengyu stared at his soldiers' shields and suddenly understood. I underestimated you. Didn't think you'd notice that. If I weren't careful, I said, your soldiers would be in much worse shape. Every guard at the mountain gate, I knocked them out. I could have killed them with one slash each. And that dragon-slaying mad slash earlier? You think I couldn't have killed your men if I wanted to? I'd been holding back the entire time. If I'm right, this whole thing is a test, I said. Mengyu was shocked, but covered it with a loud laugh. Fine, you figured it out. But the result is the same. You're trapped on a cliff with nowhere to go. You failed. Accept it. Not yet, I said. The test isn't over. I haven't failed. The word accept defeat doesn't exist in my vocabulary. Long family disciples never give up, he scoffed. You have no path left. Time's almost up. How exactly haven't you lost? The breeze grew stronger. The eastern sky was turning pale with dawn. You asked what I was waiting for, I said, feeling the wind speed carefully. I was waiting for the wind. Jump, I shouted. Longshan didn't hesitate for even a heartbeat. He threw himself off the cliff. The other three followed immediately. No questions, no fear. They trusted me completely. Even knowing Mengyu was Long family army, they still jumped without looking back. Because I was their young master, the one who'd risked his life to save them. That was enough. Mengyu rushed forward. Long Fei, don't. I flashed him a grin. Remember, next time we meet, you kneel. I leaned backward and let myself fall. Tell your generals, Long Fei isn't that easy to beat. The wind caught us perfectly. 3 days of studying the lake, the cliff, and the wind patterns had paid off. I shouted to the others mid-fall, true energy shield. Now, they all activated their protective energy. One by one, we crashed into the lake below. Mengyu stood at the cliff's edge, listening to the splashing sounds far below. When he heard us swimming, the tension drained from his face, and he burst out laughing like a kid. That was incredible. Long Fei, you absolute madman. That was the coolest thing I've ever seen. We swam to shore, soaking wet but alive. Where now, young master? Long Shan asked. The Long family army, I said without hesitation. One of the guys couldn't believe it. They nearly killed us, and we're still going. I laughed. The harder they are, the more reason to go. You don't want to stomp them into the ground and prove we're not pushovers? Imagine crushing the mighty Long family army under our feet. Long Shan swallowed hard. Just thinking about it gets me excited. That was exactly my plan. The army only respects raw power. If you want soldiers like these to follow you, you don't ask nicely. You beat them so thoroughly they can't breathe, and then they'll admire you for it. That's the fastest path to earning their loyalty. What I didn't know was that Mengyu had rushed back to the army headquarters at Sleeping Dragon Valley to report everything. He was practically bouncing with excitement, narrating the whole 3 days like a storyteller, getting more animated at every high point. Long Fei is incredible, he finished. Everything was under his control. He calculated the wind speed for the jump. He held back his killing power against our men. He even went back for the traitors. I've never admired someone like this before, but the four generals were split. General Thunder, Long Lei, the senior commander, shut it all down cold. His verdict: I hadn't rescued all the captured disciples and brought them down the mountain, so the mission was incomplete. Failed. Send me back to Holy City. General Cloud, Long Yun, the only woman among the four, fought back hard. She argued that the five who betrayed the family didn't deserve rescue, that I'd gone back for them anyway despite knowing they were traitors, and that the whole situation was Long Cheng's fault for alerting the camp. Meng Yu backed her up passionately. He'd been there. He'd seen it firsthand. How many young masters from noble families would risk their lives for ordinary disciples? None. Long Fei did, but Long Lei didn't care. A mission is a mission. He didn't complete it. He also risked everyone's lives with that cliff jump. What if they died? Unacceptable. My verdict: unqualified. Then he dropped the real reason. His dragon blood activation rate is 0. He's a waste. I will never allow a waste to command the Long family army. Nobody like him has the right, just like his father didn't. That hit a nerve with Long Yun. Don't you dare bring up his father. Long Fei is Long Fei. They called a vote. Long Lei and Long Dian voted to fail me. Long Yun voted to give me another chance, and Long Feng hesitated before joining her side. 2 against 2, which meant by default, I failed. That's when Long Yun did something nobody expected. She dropped to one knee before Long Lei. Please, give him one more chance. I'll stake my position as commander of the Cloud Dragon Army. If he fails the second test, I'll resign. Everyone was stunned. The Cloud Dragon Army was one of the army's core divisions. She was betting everything on me. Long Lei's fury was burning, but her determination backed him into a corner. Fine, he snarled. But forget the remaining tests. He goes straight to the final ultimate trial. Long Yun's face went pale with anger. You want him to die in there? Long Lei smiled coldly. That's exactly what I want. Are you still willing to bet? His war aura crushed down on the entire room. Every person felt it pressing on their bones. Long Yun clenched her fists. I'll bet. At the Dragon Guard outpost, they treated us to good food and wine. The deputy Chun who'd mocked me before was suddenly all smiles, greeting us at the gate like honored guests. But something felt off. Nobody told us whether we'd passed the test. No one came to take us to the generals or explain the next step. They just told us to wait. We sat there the entire afternoon with no word. Long Shan got restless and tried to leave the hall, but guards blocked him. When he pushed harder, soldiers surrounded the entire building in seconds. Archers, spearmen, 3 layers deep. One command, and we'd all be dead. This wasn't like the Skies and Stronghold situation. These soldiers had real killing intent. If we tried to force our way out, they'd actually shoot. I told Long Shan to calm down. If they want us to wait, we wait. Come back and eat. At dusk, a woman in general's armor walked in. She was around 30, and the instant she saw me, her eyes trembled. They grew wet, filled with something complicated: longing, pain, memories. She stared at me like she was seeing a ghost. I'd never met her before, but something about her felt strangely familiar. Long Shan whispered that she was General Long Yun, the only female general in the Long family army. She had our cups filled and raised hers. Congratulations. You passed the test. She drank it in one gulp. I noticed she was drinking on duty, which seemed odd for a military commander, but I didn't think too much about it. She looked at me with a bittersweet smile. You did better than your father. I'm proud of you. Then she asked me to follow her outside, alone. We walked in silence until she stopped at a lookout point overlooking the sunset. Something about her felt so warm and close, though I couldn't explain why. She dismissed the guards, then turned to me. Do you know why I brought you out here? No idea. She took a breath. Tonight, you'll enter the ultimate trial. Wilderness survival. You have 1 month to kill 1 level 5 monster beast, 10 level 4 beasts, and 100 level 3 beasts. And you must find your own way back to Sleeping Dragon Valley. Kill monster beasts? That sounded like it was custom-made for my system. But a level 5 beast. Remembering the great strength golden ape made my scalp tingle. Taking one on alone would be brutal. Then she dropped the real bomb. That's not the hardest part. You'll be dropped into the evil demon territory, deep inside the 100,000 desolate mountains. The demons will capture you. Besides hunting beasts, you'll have to escape from them first. With your current cultivation, Your chances of completing this are basically zero. She paused. You can quit. Is the Long family army always this insane? I said. This isn't a trial. It's a death sentence. But my mind was already racing. This was exactly what I needed. I'd come here to level up, and I was planning to go deep into the mountains anyway to search for that fire dragon. I needed dragon blood to save Grandpa. Quit. Not a chance. I won't give up, I said firmly. I don't want to disappoint Uncle Zhanhai or Grandpa. What I didn't know was everything Long Yun had sacrificed to give me this chance. She'd staked her entire cloud dragon army, her life's work, on me. And the reason she looked at me with such painful tenderness was because years ago, she'd come here with my father for the same trials. She'd loved him. But during that test, he met my mother, abandoned the trials, and left with her. Long Yun's heart was shattered. She stayed, threw herself into the army, never went back to Holy City in 16 years, and built the Cloud Dragon Army into the most fearsome fighting force in the entire military. All to forget my father. And now, looking at me, every buried feeling came flooding back. Because apparently, I look exactly like him. No, quit, in my dictionary. The family is counting on me. Uncle needs me to rise. Grandpa needs dragon blood. I have to become strong enough to make the 3 pillars and the royal family too afraid to touch us. Long Yun smiled softly, looking at my determined eyes. Just like your father back then. You know my father? I asked, but my vision was already blurring. The room was spinning. What was in that wine? She caught me as I slumped. Dragon-drunk wine. Even dragons can't stay awake after this. Just sleep. Everything went dark. What I didn't hear clearly, but caught fragments of in my half-conscious state, was Long Yun talking to herself, holding me against her as the sun went down. She was speaking to my father, calling him Brother Ting, asking if she'd done the right thing, wondering if he was okay, saying that if things had gone differently all those years ago, she would have been his wife, and I might have been their child. She was crying. Only the second time in 16 years. That night, a cavalry unit carried me deep into the 100,000 desolate mountains. I actually woke up during the ride and overheard their conversations. I learned that Long Yun had bet her entire Cloud Dragon army to keep me in the trials. I learned that Long Lei wanted me dead. And I heard soldiers wondering how anyone could survive being dropped into evil demon territory. I also pieced something together from what Long Yun had murmured. My father had come here for the same trials. And my mother, she might have been from the demon race. When we reached the edge of a bottomless canyon, a soldier was about to toss my unconscious body over the edge. I jumped up quickly. I'll walk down myself. Thanks. They nearly had heart attacks. I brushed the dirt off and said, Tell General Long Yun I won't let her down. Then I grinned. And tell General Long Lei, I'm going to climb to the top by stepping on his face. I'll make him kneel and sing conquest for me. I walked into the canyon without looking back. The soldiers stood there stunned. Did he just say he'd step on the great general's face? This kid is insane. They left, figuring I was a dead man walking. But I had no intention of running. Every step I took was firm. I needed to find the fire dragon. I also wanted to find clues about my father. Grandpa missed him terribly, and finding him would make the old man happier than anything. Half an hour into the canyon, fog everywhere, visibility almost zero. This place was terrifying. The desolate mountains absorb fire essence from that ancient wildfire, so the monster beasts here are fiercer than anywhere else, and many can launch fire-based ranged attacks. Then I heard it, a girl's voice screaming from deeper in the canyon. Help! Help! A massive red boulder, glowing like it was on fire, was rolling toward the sound at high speed. The whole canyon shook with each impact. I flooded my body with energy and sprinted in. When I got close enough to see, a girl in leopard print animal skins was standing at a dead end, holding a spear. A colossal beast made of molten rock was bearing down on her, hurling burning boulders like cannonballs. She had nowhere to run. But instead of screaming in terror, she just grinned and said cheerfully, I'm going to die. Who smiles about dying? Watch out. I grabbed her and leaped out of the way just as the boulder smashed where she'd been standing. That's when I got a clear look at the creature. My face darkened. A molten rock giant beast. Sparks flew and rocks exploded everywhere as I dodged the molten rock beast's attacks with the leopard skin girl in my arms. She just stared up at me with huge curious eyes, not scared at all. Is he human? She mumbled to herself. The beast went berserk, grabbed the cliff wall, launched itself into a ball of fire and stone, and came rolling straight at us like a giant flaming cannonball. You've got to be kidding me. The thing looked exactly like the rock golem from a game I used to play. And the girl in my arms. Ponytail, big eyes, leopard print outfit barely covering anything, holding a spear. She was basically the leopard girl character from the same game. Rock golem versus leopard girl? I shook my head. I've been gaming too much. This is just a coincidence. She chirped helpfully. You should dodge now. The big monster is going to hit you. He, still smiling. Facing death and still smiling. I couldn't understand this girl. But there was no time to think. The beast was already on us, moving twice my speed. No way to dodge. I set her down gently. Don't worry. The instant I turned around, I activated peerless mode. All stats doubled. My right arm swelled with power, muscles ripping through my sleeve. Right fist divine power, 3 seconds of charge. That's all I had time for. I slammed my fist straight into the flaming boulder. The impact was like thunder. My arm went numb, bones felt like they were cracking, and my knuckles got burned badly. But I sent the beast flying. It screamed, burst into fragments, then reformed into another fireball and charged again. Again, I swallowed a true spirit pill and combined Mountain Crusher Fist with right fist divine power. Both techniques came from the great strength golden ape, so their compatibility was nearly 90%, almost perfect fusion. Then my luck stat triggered a critical hit. 200% damage boost. I leaped into the air, locked both fists together like a battle axe, and the shadow of a massive golden ape appeared over my body. I brought everything down on the beast's head with a roar. Get down, one punch. The molten rock beast exploded into a shower of burning fragments like a splitting coal fire. The system notifications rolled in, 15,000 experience points, 400 true energy, 1 energy point, plus a molten heart and a fire essence point. The molten heart could strengthen a technique with a 10% power boost from the beast, but only had a 10% success rate. I tried fusing it with Mountain Crusher Fist. Failed. Wasted my excitement. I grumbled. The fire essence was more useful. It could boost weapon forging success rates and add fire properties to weapons. 100 points could be combined into something powerful. Since 90% of beasts in these mountains were fire type, collecting enough wouldn't be hard. Then I heard the girl's voice behind me, full of wonder. Are you human? I turned around. Her big eyes were shining with pure worship. I nodded. Aren't you human? Then it hit me. This was evil demon territory. Was this girl actually a demon? But she was gorgeous, flawless white skin, perfect figure, not a single blemish. This was nothing like the ugly, terrifying demons from the legends. She didn't mind my staring at all. Those huge eyes just blinked at me, and then she giggled. I'm not human. I'm leopard girl. Leopard girl? But you look completely human, I said, confused. The only leopard thing about you is your outfit. She glanced down at her leopard print top and bottom and giggled. Daddy told me to wear these. I think they're annoying. Sometimes they're too hot, so usually I don't wear anything. Well, if you're hot, take them off, I said without thinking. She answered with perfect innocence. Daddy says I can only show my body to my future husband. Do you want to see? If you look, you have to be my husband though. I really wanted to look. I'll admit that. But those big, trusting, completely innocent eyes made me feel like the worst person alive. I killed my dirty thoughts on the spot. Your daddy is right, I said. A girl's body should only be seen by her future husband. Don't let bad people trick you. She was so pure it was like looking at a blank sheet of paper. I couldn't bring myself to take advantage of that. She pouted. You don't want to be my husband? I nearly choked. That's very direct, but you saved my life. Daddy said a life-saving debt can be repaid with your body. I can give myself to you right now. She was completely serious. Not joking at all. If I'd nodded, she would have started undressing immediately. I took a deep breath and forced myself to stay calm despite her wild, gorgeous figure right in front of me. It's not that I don't want to. I can't. Saving someone doesn't mean they owe you their body. A girl's body is more precious than anything in this world. She mumbled to herself for half a minute, then brightened up. Too complicated. But I figured out one thing. Humans aren't bad people. Daddy always said humans were the most evil, cruelest creatures in the world. He's been lying to me this whole time. She puffed her cheeks angrily. And he tried to make me marry Xiao Hu. Big liar. Her angry face was absolutely adorable. I asked what she was doing out here alone. I ran away from home, she said proudly. Daddy wants me to marry Xiao Hu from the tiger tribe next door. I don't like him, so I escaped. Pretty impressive, right? A runaway bride. I couldn't help but laugh. Very impressive. She told me Xiao Hu had always been trying to see her body, which she refused. Her father kept calling him the greatest genius of the mountain tribes, but she disagreed. I don't think so either, I said, and she beamed. Then I asked the question that had been on my mind. Back there, when you were about to die, why were you smiling? She looked up at the sky, her voice going soft. Mommy told me, happy is one day, unhappy is one day. No matter what happens, face it with a smile. A pause. Daddy says Mommy is in the sky, but I know she's dead. You only go to the sky when you die? I miss her. I miss her so much. Something twisted in my chest. My eyes stung. Looking at her longing expression, I couldn't help thinking about my own mother. Where are you? Every bit of family means the world to me. Even though I'm a soul that crossed over into this body, I've truly made everything about this life my own. Grandpa, Xiao Xiao, my missing parents. They're all in my heart. We walked in silence for about an hour until we cleared the Red Flame Canyon and reached an endless primitive forest. I stopped, not sure which direction to go. She bumped into my back, rubbed her head, and giggled. Sorry, where are you headed? I asked. She blinked blankly. I don't know, but I don't want to go home. Daddy will make me marry Xiao Hu. Her eyes lit up. Where are you going? I'm on a trial. I need to hunt monster beasts. Hunt monsters? Her eyes sparkled. That sounds so exciting. Take me with you. I can hunt too. Those pleading puppy eyes were impossible to refuse. Fine, you can come. But no going wild. You follow my orders. Yes, sir. She jumped up and down like a little girl who just got candy. Yay. Monster hunting time. She sprinted off into the forest before I could say anything else. I smiled and called after her. Slow down. What neither of us knew was that a few hours after we entered the forest, warriors wearing tiger masks arrived at the canyon. They found her broken spear. A hulking young man, muscles practically exploding off his body, snarled at his men. Keep searching. Little wildcat, let's see how far you can run. Xiao Hu was coming after her. Lucky for me, I wasn't captured by any demons when I landed in the evil demon territory. Unlucky for me, I had Leopard Girl. She was an absolute disaster. They're coming. They're coming. She'd leap from a tree, land in my arms like a hunting cat, wrap her legs and arms around me, and squeal. So many monsters. I'm scared. Then I'd have to run for my life, carrying her while an entire herd of beasts stampeded behind us, ripping trees out of the ground. Faster, faster. They're catching up. Go, Dragon Fae. You're the best. She'd even taunt the beasts while I was sprinting for survival. You monsters are too slow. Hee. After 2 solid hours of running, I was gasping on the ground. Can you please stop doing this? You said you'd help me kill beasts, but you're trying to get me killed instead, she giggled. That was so fun. Let's do it again. I almost coughed up blood. I couldn't get mad at her, though. Every time I tried, those huge, innocent eyes killed my anger before it started. She was a perfect mix of devil and angel. If this keeps up, forget leveling. I won't even survive, I muttered. When night started falling, I had a thought. She has to sleep eventually, right? Then I can actually hunt. We found a small cave. I built a fire and roasted a rabbit. Leopard Girl stared at it with drool literally dripping from her mouth like a little kid. I tore off a leg and handed it to her. She inhaled it in 10 seconds flat, then looked at me with those big blinking eyes. Can I have more? You're all gluttons, aren't you? I tore off another leg, then had an idea. You like roast meat? Monster beast meat tastes even better. If you want some, you'll help me hunt properly tomorrow. But you absolutely cannot attract a whole swarm. Otherwise, no monster meat for you. She looked at me with sad eyes. Do we really have to kill them? She saw vicious monster beasts the same way a child sees puppies. My heart practically melted, but I stayed firm. They're bad monsters. If we don't kill them, they eat us. So yes, we kill them. If you want roast beast meat, you follow my lead. She went quiet for a while, staring at the meat in her hand. In the end, she set it down without eating it. I couldn't figure this girl out. She looked about 15, but mentally she was more like a 6 or 7-year-old, still in that stage where every animal is cute and the world hasn't shown its teeth yet. She had no idea how brutal these beasts really were. She'll have to grow up eventually, I thought. That night, she curled into a little ball in her sleep, frowning, whimpering. Daddy, I don't want to marry him. I don't want to marry Xiao Hu. Then softer. Mommy, where are you? I miss you so much. Tears rolled down her cheeks. My heart ached watching her. Don't worry, I whispered. As long as I'm here, nobody's going to force you into anything. I covered the cave entrance, then slipped out into the darkness. Time to work. I tore through the forest all night, hunting level 1 and level 2 beasts nonstop. Dragon slaying blade technique. 7 strikes in under a second, stacking blade energy up to 170 layers now. Toad art for close-range kills, grinding my energy into their guts. Mountain Crusher Fist with peerless mode for the tougher ones. The golden ape shadow smashing skulls into the dirt. Experience wasn't climbing super fast on these low-level beasts, but my skill proficiency was rising nicely. Every fight made my technique sharper. Every kill made me stronger. By the end of the night, I'd collected something important. The system pinged. Congratulations, player Long Fei has absorbed 100 fire essence points. Strengthen, weapon forging skill. Strengthen. The weapon forging enhancement worked. Now my forging skill had a 10% chance of creating fire spirit weapons, basically top-grade weapons with elemental attack power. If I could push that rate to 100%, every weapon I made would be elite quality. The next few days fell into a routine. During the day, Leopard Girl and I gathered spirit herbs together. The desolate mountains are full of fire element plants, and my spatial ring had plenty of room to stockpile them. She'd come bounding over covered in mud, holding up some little herb, beaming like she'd found treasure. Dragon Fei, I found another fire spirit grass, helping me made her happier than anything. At night, once she fell asleep, I'd slip out and hunt like a madman. She'd curl up in the cave mumbling in her dreams. Things like, Dragon Fei, you're so handsome, and be my husband and keep me warm. And I'd smile and shake my head. Then I'd spend the entire night slaughtering beasts, grinding experience and skill proficiency. After 3 days, I hit War Spirit level 3. But the experience needed for the next level jumped to 1.5 million, and lower-level beasts were giving less and less. I needed to hunt higher-tier monsters. My skills had improved significantly, though. Toad Art and Dragon Slaying Blade Technique were both at God Grade level 2 now. My understanding of them was getting deeper with every fight. I didn't bring Leopard Girl hunting with me, partly because I wanted to live, and partly because I didn't want her seeing that kind of violence. She thought monster beasts were like cute animals. She had the mind of a 6-year-old in a 15-year-old's body, innocent, kind, completely unaware of how cruel the world really was. Then, just before dawn on the 3rd night, a scream ripped through the darkness. Dragon Fei, save me. My blood went cold. I shot through the forest like lightning, but by the time I reached the cave, she was gone. The place was trashed. Her spear lay snapped in half, crushed under someone's boot. My fists cracked with fury. I stared into the depths of the demon territory. I promised you that nobody would ever force you to do anything you didn't want. Whoever took you is going to regret being born. These 3 days with her had changed something in me. I'd gotten used to her chaos, her innocence, her sleep-talking, her silly smile. In my heart, a girl like her deserved to live without worries forever. I wanted to protect her. I summoned Little White. Which direction? The little beast sniffed the air. West, master. I launched myself through the trees like a hunting wolf. What had happened was this. Xiao Hu, the muscle-bound young chief of the tiger tribe, had tracked Leopard Girl down and kidnapped her while I was out hunting. His plan was disgusting. He'd skip the marriage negotiations entirely and just force himself on her. Cook the raw rice, as he put it. Make it a done deal so she'd have no choice. If the leopard tribe's chief objected, Xiao Hu would simply destroy them. The old chief knew his tribe was too weak to resist, which was why he'd agreed to the marriage in the first place. When Leopard Girl woke up from being knocked unconscious, she glared at Xiao Hu and declared proudly, "My Dragon Fei will come for me. He's the most handsome man in the whole world, and he's my future husband." Xiao Hu slapped her across the face so hard the fingerprints were visible on her skin. "I'm your husband." She didn't cry. She didn't scream. She just stared straight at him with those big, unblinking eyes, defiant to the core. I was coming for her. And when I found Xiao Hu, he was going to learn what real pain feels like. While I was tracking Leopard Girl through the forest, things were happening on multiple fronts that I had no idea about. Back at Sleeping Dragon Valley, General Long Yun stood on the mountaintop, staring out at the endless desolate mountains, worrying about me. 5 days with no news. Long Lei came up behind her, smirking. He's probably dead already. She turned on him angrily, but he didn't care. He let it all out. The real reason he hated me. It wasn't just my zero dragon blood. It was my father. Long Lei had been in love with Long Yun for years, and she'd never looked at him because she was still hung up on my dad. He despised my father for it, and he despised me as the living reminder. Then he dropped another bomb. Know where your precious Long Fei was dropped? Red Flame Canyon, the Tiger Tribe's territory. You can give up on him now. Long Yun's face went white with fury. Without a word, she assembled a cavalry unit and charged straight into the desolate mountains to find me, just like she'd once ridden in to save my father years ago. Long Lei screamed after her that even if she brought me back alive, my trial would count as failed, and her Cloud Dragon army would be taken from her. She'd be disgraced. She didn't look back. In the evil demon territory, Leopard Girl's father, a chief named Wanma Bao of the Wild Leopard tribe, received a letter from the Tiger tribe. Xiaohu had captured his daughter and announced they'd be married in 3 days. The chief was furious but powerless. His tribe was too weak. If he refused, the Tiger tribe would destroy them. The tribal elders were actually celebrating, calling it a blessing. But Wanma Bao knew his daughter. She'd rather die than marry someone she didn't love, and she'd been wanting to join her dead mother in the sky for years. He hated himself for being too weak to protect her. News of the wedding spread across all the demon tribes. Xiaohu was considered the greatest genius in the entire demon territory, and his marriage was being treated as a grand event. Every tribe received invitations. Meanwhile, in a heavily guarded tent in the Tiger tribe's camp, Leopard Girl had destroyed everything inside. Furniture flipped, clothes scattered, jewelry thrown everywhere. She was screaming to be let out, refusing to marry Xiaohu. When she tried to charge through the door, she ran straight into Xiaohu himself. He grabbed her by the hair and yanked her back. "Behave yourself, little wildcat, or else," she spat in his face. He slapped her again, then threatened her coldly. "Either you cooperate, or I wipe your father and your entire tribe off the map." I mean it. She'd been ready to fight to the death, but when he mentioned her father and her tribe, she went quiet. She couldn't let them die because of her. Xiaohu grinned, satisfied. He ordered servants to clean up the tent and bring in bridal clothes. One of his followers asked why he didn't just take her now. He laughed and said he wanted to save it for the wedding night. Then he walked off with his lackey to go relieve himself with some other women. Through the tent flap, he glanced back at Leopard Girl sitting quietly on the bed's edge, and his eyes filled with disgusting desire. 3 days. That's how long I had to find her. I was already on my way, cutting through the forest with Little White tracking her scent. Every second counted. "Master, we're here," Little White whispered. I crouched in the dense forest, studying the Tiger tribe's fortress. It was massive, practically a small city, with a giant tiger head mounted above the gates, carved with demon runes. "Can you sense Leopard Girl inside?" I asked. Little White tried, but shook his head. "Too many people, too far away, and they all share similar demon auras. I can't pick her out. If I could get inside, though." "No," I shut that down immediately. He was still a baby, divine beast or not. Every person in that tribe was a hunter. They'd kill him on sight. I looked at the decorations going up everywhere. Lanterns, banners, celebrations being prepared. A wedding. Xiaohu was going to force through the marriage. My heart clenched, but I held myself back from charging in. The preparations were still early. No guests had arrived yet. That meant I still had time. And right now, with all those guards around Leopard Girl, rushing in would just get us both killed. The best moment to strike would be on the wedding day itself, when security would relax as everyone focused on the ceremony. "Leopard Girl, hold on. I'm coming for you." I left Little White to watch the fortress and report the moment guests started arriving. Then I retreated deep into the forest. I needed to get stronger, fast. I sprinted dozens of kilometers until I found a valley radiating dangerous energy, packed with monster beasts. This was what I needed. I drew the dragon-slaying blade and let my aura explode outward. The beasts inside went berserk, sensing human prey. Hundreds of them came pouring out like a stampede. Standing alone at the valley entrance, I gripped the blade tight. My energy and the blade's aura began resonating, merging together. The system chimed. "Congratulations. Player Long Fei has comprehended man and blade as one." All blade technique damage increased by 20%. I dragged the blade along the ground, sparks flying, and charged straight into the horde. No one else to worry about. No consequences to fear. Just one word in my mind: kill. The dragon-slaying blade technique tore through level 1 and level 2 beasts like paper. One slash, one kill. 7 strikes stacked, blade energy building to insane levels. Dragon-slaying mad slash. I swung upward, launching a line of blade energy that shot out like a gale. The system pinged again. Comprehended gale slash. First form of dragon, slaying mad slash. The energy hit the beasts, and I twisted the true energy inside it with my mind, making it detonate outward. Another ping. Comprehended hurricane slash. Second form activated. The hurricane swept dozens of beasts into the air. I launched myself into the vortex with them, blade flashing. 170 layers of blade energy released in seconds. The beasts were shredded into a rain of blood. I landed in the center of the remaining horde, grinning coldly. Not enough. Not nearly enough. I put the blade away and leaped high, spreading my limbs wide, crashing down like a meteor. Toad art, grand annihilation. Half my true energy drained in an instant, creating a domain of crushing force around me. Every beast within range had their insides twisted apart like they'd been thrown into a blender. Blood erupted everywhere. Still not enough. I pulled my right arm back, muscles swelling. The shadow of the great strength golden ape roared behind me. One punch blasted forward like a cannon, flipping an entire wave of low-level beasts into the air. The surviving beasts broke and ran, squealing in terror. You think you can leave? Every last one of you dies today. I drew the dragon-slaying blade again and charged after them. This wasn't a battle anymore. It was a slaughter. I didn't know how strong Xiaohu was. I didn't know how powerful the tiger tribe was. All I knew was that every bit of strength I gained meant a better chance of saving Leopard Girl. No matter the cost, I was getting her out. I cleared an entire valley of beasts. By the end, I was covered in blood, with several deep wounds from level 3 monsters that had cut me to the bone. I wrapped them up, swallowed a healing pill, and kept going. Not enough. Still not enough. Keep killing. I didn't rest for a single second the entire day, running like a machine. By evening, the system finally chimed. Level up, War Spirit 4. All wounds healed instantly with the level up. Thank God, because I was about to collapse. Night fell, and the beasts came out to hunt. Perfect. Their hunting time was my hunting time too. I crafted some premium talismans from level 3 beast blood, then dove back into the darkness. All night long, explosions, screams, blade energy tearing through flesh. Several times I nearly died, escaped by a hair, and threw myself right back into the killing. I also tried strengthening my weapon forging skill again with another 100 fire essence points. Failed. 13th failure in a row. My fire attribute forging success rate was stuck at 70%. Frustrating, but honestly, 70% was already insanely good. By noon the next day, War Spirit 5. My body was wrecked again, saved only by the level up recovery. Then I checked the experience needed for the next level, and my jaw dropped. 5 million. Are you kidding me? The experience requirements kept doubling, and low-level beasts were giving barely anything now. At this rate, reaching War King would take forever. I needed higher-level prey, but I didn't know this mountain range well enough to find where the powerful beasts gathered. I was also worried sick about Leopard Girl, and about Little White. What if he did something reckless? Brute force leveling wasn't going to work in time. I needed a different plan for the rescue. I started scrolling through my system skills: forging, array carving, alchemy, beast taming. Beast taming. That was it. If I could tame a flying beast, I could escape the tiger tribe through the air. They didn't have archers, and they were too powerful to fight through on the ground. The sky was the only way out. I'd seen fire hawks circling the cliffs, massive birds with wingspans over 2 meters. One could easily carry 2 people. But first I needed to level up my beast taming skill. Based on my experience with alchemy and talisman crafting, higher skill level meant higher success rate. I found a lone level 1 beast and started practicing. Mind energy flowed out, forming an invisible net around the creature's brain. Failed. Proficiency +1. I pinned the beast down and tried again. Failed. Again. Failed. 100 times in a row. Finally, beast taming leveled up to level 1. I tried one more time on the same beast, and it died. foamed at the mouth and keeled over. The system counted it as a kill. Wait, beast taming can actually kill things? I stared at the dead creature. Apparently, if you keep forcing mental energy into a brain over and over, the target can't handle it and just dies. A tiny chance of instant death built into the skill. Well, that's interesting. Let me grab another one and keep practicing. I spent the entire afternoon and night grinding beast taming, failing over and over. By morning it hit level 2, 3 successes out of hundreds of attempts. The success rate was painfully low. By the next morning, level 3. But the proficiency needed for level 4 was 5,000 points, which meant 50,000 true energy. I didn't have that kind of supply, and my true spirit pills were running low. No more time for practice. I needed real targets. I climbed to a treetop and scanned the sky. Then I heard it, the piercing cry of a fire hawk. A massive bird dove out of the sky like a fighter jet, its talons gleaming like blades, and snatched up a level 3 fire rhinoceros like it was nothing. The rhino didn't even fight back, just went limp. That's insane, I whispered. This bird could definitely carry 2 people. I chased it for half an hour until it landed on a cliff face. Its nest was in a cave about 4 or 5 meters below the cliff edge. Beast taming only works within 2 meters, so I had to get inside that cave. I looked down at the only handhold, a dead tree growing from the cliff face, and jumped. I grabbed the branch, which creaked and groaned under my weight. Thousands of meters of empty air below me. Please hold. Please hold. The branch held. I started climbing toward the cave entrance. That's when a snake the size of my thigh came shooting out. A fire rock python, level 3 peak beast, spitting lightning like tongues. I nearly fell off the cliff. And behind me, the fire hawk screeched and dove toward the cave too. I was stuck on a cliff face with a giant python in front and a furious hawk behind. No way up, no way down. Then I heard it. Baby hawk cries from inside the cave. The python had come for the chicks. That's why the mother hawk was so frantic. Everything clicked. This was my chance. Fire hawk, I hope you're smart enough to understand gratitude. The moment the python slithered deeper into the cave, I flipped myself up onto the ledge, summoned the dragon-slaying blade, and charged in after it. I grabbed the python's tail and yanked it back, slashing with the blade. Die! The python whipped around, its tongue crackling with energy. It showed fear at the sight of the dragon-slaying blade, but it wasn't backing down. Its throat rumbled, and then, a fireball shot straight at my face. Are you serious? A snake that shoots fireballs? Magic or not? You're still dying today. I used lingering wave steps to dodge the fireball and rushed to the back of the cave, planting myself between the python and the hawk chicks. The python's eyes glowed like lanterns, furious that I was protecting its prey. It launched an even bigger fireball. I raised the dragon-slaying blade and cut it clean in half. The baby hawks cheered behind me like a tiny audience. Then the python got clever. It swung its tail at me, but when I dodged, the tail curved past and aimed straight for the chicks instead. You sneaky. I kicked off the cave wall and threw myself in the way. That's when it hit me with its real attack, a fireball to my back while its tail whipped around like a boomerang. The fireball slammed into my dragon armor and diamond shield, but the burning pain still tore through me. The tail coiled around my body and squeezed. My joints cracked. One more second and I'd come apart. Peerless mode, double stats flooded my body. I ripped my right arm free, summoned the golden ape's power, and started hammering the python. 1 punch, 2, 3, 4. Each hit made it scream, but it kept squeezing tighter. Finally, after several devastating blows, it couldn't take any more. It released me, but instantly lunged with jaws wide open, trying to swallow me whole. You want to eat me? 7 dragon-slaying strikes in one breath. Blade energy stacked. Gale slash. The blade energy shot straight into the python's open mouth. I leaped up and brought the blade down with everything I had. The fire rock python was sliced apart. Dead. The system gave me 5,000 experience plus a fire rock heart. I was gasping against the cave wall, barely conscious. Fuse it. With dragon-slaying blade technique. For once, it actually worked. The result blew my mind. My dragon-slaying blade technique was now fire-enhanced. Every slash would carry flame damage, and the blade energy itself would transform into fire energy. The final move, dragon-slaying mad slash, would become a blazing inferno slash. In gaming terms, This was a premium elemental enchantment that people paid real money for. While I was catching my breath, the 3 hawk chicks hopped over and nuzzled against me happily. Then the mother fire hawk finally couldn't wait anymore and burst into the cave. She saw her babies safe, the dead python on the ground, and the burns across my back from protecting her young. The system pinged. Affinity with Fire Hawk has reached 100 points. You can now communicate. The hawk bent her great head down toward me. Through our mental link, she said, "Thank you. You saved my children. I will do anything for you." My heart soared. "I do need your help. Can you accept my beast taming?" "I promise. Once this mission is done, I'll release you." "I'm willing." No hesitation at all. I cast beast taming. It worked instantly. The system asked if I wanted to establish a permanent mount bond. I chose no. I'd made a promise, and she had 3 babies to raise. I wasn't going to take their mother away. The hawk let out a triumphant cry. I jumped onto her back, and she launched out of the cave like a fighter jet, diving off the cliff into open sky. The wind hit my face, and I felt something I hadn't felt in days: hope. "Leopard girl, I'm coming." The Tiger Tribe fortress was decked out for the wedding. Lanterns, drums, horns, as grand as any human celebration. Guests from tribes across the demon territory were streaming through the gates. I disguised myself and intercepted a group of guests on the road, taking their invitation and gifts. At the gate, I bowed and smiled. "Congratulations. Here to celebrate the young chief's big day." The gatekeeper, a 3-eyed tiger demon called San Yen-hu, checked my invitation and waved me through. "Welcome. The ceremony starts soon." I was in. Inside, the security was intense. Patrols everywhere, all at War Spirit peak level or higher, some at War King. And being demon-blooded, they had natural strength and defense bonuses that put them above human fighters of the same rank. No wonder the Long family army had to station troops here permanently. I moved through the crowd slowly, memorizing every guard position, every path, every exit. Meanwhile, Xiaohu visited Leopard Girl in her tent. She sat there in a phoenix crown and bridal robes, looking beautiful but cold as ice. He taunted her about her dragon fae, never showing up, calling humans selfish cowards. She thought to herself that he was right. If I were coming, I'd have come already. But secretly, she hoped I wouldn't come, because the Tiger Tribe would tear me apart. She'd rather suffer this marriage than see me die. She'd grown up in just a few days. She understood now that her tribe's survival depended on this marriage. Her father had always wanted it. Her mother was gone. This was the one thing she could do for her family. But deep inside, she was still that girl dreaming of a prince who'd carry her away. When Leopard Girl's father, Wanma Bao, arrived with his tribal elders, Xiaohu greeted him as father-in-law, but refused to let him see his daughter before the ceremony. The elders were all smiles, but Wanma Bao's fists were clenched under his sleeves, barely containing his fury and helplessness. While everyone was distracted by the chief's arrival, I found the tent. It was in a quiet area, guarded by just 2 soldiers. "This area is restricted. Please." 2 punches. Both down. I slipped inside. There she was. Alone. Phoenix crown, silk robes, radiating beauty that actually stopped me in my tracks for a second. She looked like a completely different person, stunning, like a painting come to life. But her eyes were red from crying, and her expression was frozen. The instant she saw me, joy exploded across her face, then immediately turned to panic. "Dragon Fae, why are you here? It's too dangerous. If Xiaohu finds you, you'll never escape. Go. Run." I grabbed her hand. "I'm taking you out of here." "No, no, no." Leopard Girl pulled her hand back. "I can't leave. If I run, Xiaohu will slaughter my entire tribe. My father will die. I can't go." She wanted to. I could see it in every fiber of her being. She was desperate to leave with me. But she couldn't. She knew Xiaohu's temper. If she fled on his wedding day, he'd lose face in front of every tribe in the demon territory, and he'd burn the leopard tribe to ashes in revenge. "I'll handle everything," I said. She shook her head. "You're human. If you get involved, every tribe in the demon territory will come after my people. It'll be worse." Then she smiled. That same sweet, playful smile. "Thank you for coming. Meeting you was the happiest thing in my life." Tears rolled down her cheeks even as she smiled. That sight tore something inside me, a pain I'd never felt before. I stepped forward to wipe her tears, but she stepped back. I didn't know what to do. I hated that feeling. Footsteps approached outside, guards. She immediately walked out to intercept them, scolding them loudly. What are you doing? The ceremony's starting. Escort me to the altar. They obeyed without question. She was the future chief's wife. They wouldn't dare disrespect her. She glanced back at the tent one last time. I caught the look in her eyes and the whisper on her lips. If I could, I'd want you as my husband. Then that final beautiful smile. The one she was leaving for me forever. I stood frozen in the empty tent. My brain was a mess. Why did I come here? What was I supposed to do? Then it hit me like a punch. I came here to steal her from this wedding. She's not happy. That muscle-bound animal doesn't deserve her. My fists clenched. I'm taking her out of here. I want her to keep that innocent, playful smile forever. I burst out of the tent. But the area was already empty. Everyone had gathered at the central plaza for the ceremony. The altar ceremony was in full swing. Drums pounded, masked dancers circled the platform, and Xiaohu leaped to the top of the altar in one bound, showing off his power. The crowd roared his name. Who is the Tiger Tribe's chief? The high priest bellowed. Xiaohu, Xiaohu, Shaohu. Who will lead the demons out of the mountains and slaughter all humans? Shaohu, Xiaohu, Shaohu. I watched from the crowd as Leopard Girl stood on the altar, trembling. Xiaohu was basking in the worship, grinning like a king. Who dares oppose my wedding? He roared. Dead silence. Nobody would dare. Anyone? Does anyone dare object? I let the silence hang for one perfect second. Then my voice cut through the air like thunder. I object. The crowd exploded outward, clearing a circle around me. Every eye locked on. Who is he? Which tribe? Is he insane? He's dead. In the distance, Leopard Girl covered her mouth, tears streaming, whispering my name. Xiaohu's eyes locked onto me. The human. You finally showed up. Human. The crowd buzzed with shock. Some of the older demons stared at me with strange recognition. Apparently something like this had happened once before, over a decade ago, when a human who looked a lot like me charged in and stole away a demon woman. I didn't even look at Xiaohu. I walked straight toward Leopard Girl, step by step. I'm taking you out of here. Come with me. She cried and shook her head, unable to speak. Xiaohu roared like a tiger. She's my woman. Touch her, and I'll destroy you. I finally glanced up at him with a cold smile. Yeah, I'm here to steal your bride. Then I looked at Leopard Girl. You wanted me to be your husband, right? Fine. From this second forward, I'm your husband. I will never abandon you. I will treasure you for the rest of my life. Until death, the entire crowd went speechless.